Wow, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. Woo!
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Thursday, January 15, 2015. Time for your Gitmo Nation Media Assassination, episode 687.
This is No Agenda.
First day of sunshine in 2 weeks here in FEMA Region 6. The chemtrails are out in the capital of the Drone Star State, Austin, Texas. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where there is no sun, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
There is a cross going right over the house.
Yeah. Two airplanes, they leave vapor trails.
Yes, yeah, sure.
Through
I know.
Moisture that's in the atmosphere.
Yeah, and it just stays there forever and floats slowly down to the surface. That's what all condensation trails do. Exactly how it works. I agree.
You see it floating down to the surface?
Yes.
Sure you do.
Yeah. All right. You don't look. We don't have to have this one again.
All right, you're up.
I'm up. Okay. Looks like this cyber thing is catching on, John.
Oh, I thought we were going to start. I was going to bet that we're going to start with all the claims of the Charlie Hebdo thing being a hoax.
You know, first of all, you think so lowly of me.
Why? What is that? That's bullcrap.
I have to say, in having a few more days to evaluate everything that's going on, receiving, in fact, emails from Knights in Israel. I think you were on this email as well. Saying, hey, man, you know, it's strange, but even I'm thinking Mossad was behind this. And this is the overarching conspiracy theory.
I think it is.
And I can add a few interesting things to it if you wish.
Well, you know, I was looking at it, and I'm not convinced. There's a problem I have with it being a hoax, which is to what end?
Well, you mean a hoax, like no one was killed, or it was a false flag, like hoax?
Because again, this is I'm not buying it, so I don't. I mean, okay. I could go either way with it. Okay. I did have a couple of problems, mainly with these two jokers in the car. One of them loses his shoe.
Yeah,
doesn't seem to notice until he gets back in the car. I think that was weird. And the other thing was the guys are going down that street, and there's nobody on the street, which is not unusual in Paris. There's a lot of streets that are not busy. And they're going down and they take a bunch of shots at that cop car and back him off. And where were the rest of the cops? I mean, you think they were there for so long, kicking around.
So that's exactly what I don't want to do, personally. I'm not interested in what we saw in some video and deconstructing that, except for we already talked about an obvious misfire and not shooting into somebody's head. But there's nothing there. You say, to what end? Let's just presume for a moment that this... let's take it back one step. If these guys truly were going there to avenge the prophet, Muhammad, then why did... First of all, they shot an unarmed security guard outside, killed him, who was not in the plot, who was not publishing horribly offensive material. Inside the offices, all these magazine covers with depictions of Muhammad on it were left untouched, not destroyed, not shot to shreds or anything. This makes little sense if this is truly what these guys were about. If they didn't finish the job, then let's put it in my book. And I kept hearing this modernity thing, and I stuck on that for a little bit. And it's code, obviously. And a lot of people emailed about this. So this is the meme talking about bringing Islam into modernity, and it is code for Jewish religion, modern, Islam religion, not modern. And I'm seeing it everywhere now.
I'm not seeing it anywhere, but okay.
Well, I hear, okay. And now there's another little piece of information here, John. The White House was not in on this. And the way they responded about not having a higher ranking official there for this, by the way, bogus photo. I think we've all now seen the world leaders linked arm in arm. And then you zoom up a little bit and you see that it's essentially about 50 people in this photo shoot, nowhere near the millions of people who were demonstrating in Paris. You saw the photo, right?
What, have those guys linked arm to arm?
Yeah, but the one that shows it from above, where it's just a small group.
Yeah, well, they were kept separate from the main crowd,
right.
Obviously.
Yeah, okay, but but that is the kind of, that's trickery.
What's trickery? I don't get. What trickery? Where's trickery here?
Okay. It was made to look like the shots that were published, not the ones on the internet, the shots that were published in magazines and the video that was shown, showed them straight on as if they were a part of the big demonstration. They weren't.
I've never seen one picture like that, and you had to send me a link.
Okay. It's all in the show
All the
notes.
pictures I've seen were that group, because it was an overhead shot, and there was a group of people linked arm, and then when they showed the close-up, which makes me think this was a legit... this actually happened, was everyone looked so paranoid, like they're going to get gunned down. They're looking left, they're looking right. It's kind of freaky to watch them. And then I never saw it, so it looked like they were part of a larger group.
It's not that they made it look like part of a larger group, but all the press was down low, shooting, just showing them linked arm in arm. So it doesn't matter. I'm just saying they were not part of the larger group. But
no, it was separate. It was a separate little walkthrough. Back
to the modernity thing. A lot of people came out and immediately came out saying this is about French Jews. This is about Jews. This is about Jews worldwide. Netanyahu was there. And to see the White House scrambling like crazy to apologize for not having sent someone was, I think, very peculiar. A couple quick clips.
We're going to go to Washington now, where the president's team has now apologized for failing to send a high-level official to that massive unity rally in Paris. ABC's John Carl at the White House. And John, this was an unusually rapid concession for the White House.
George, this was a remarkably quick turnaround for a White House that rarely admits mistakes. But now now White House officials are saying bluntly that they should have sent a much more high-profile representative to that march.
Now, I agree. This is very strange.
Well, now that you mention it, to take kind of another perspective, with Netanyahu being there, and the Jewish thing has come to the fore as there was a couple of speeches, in fact, in Parliament, I think, defending this French Jews.
Well, I have a few more examples. Yeah.
Well, I just want to say that if Netanyahu and had anything to do with it at all, he would have made sure Obama wasn't there.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he hates him.
Yes, exactly. And take it a little bit further. People are starting to figure out that there's something strange going on But first, let me play, here's Josh Earnest, our spokeshole for the White House, also apologizing for not sending a higher... to hear this White House say we messed up so quickly is interesting.
And some have asked whether or not the United States should have sent someone with a higher profile than the ambassador to France. And I think it's fair to say that we should have sent someone with a higher profile to be there. That said, there is no doubt that the American people and this administration stand foursquare behind our allies in France.
Is that a real term? Do we stand foursquare behind somebody, or is that
this guy?
Or is
yeah, it's a real term that was used in the 40s. I think
foursquare. It's like 407 years ago.
No. It's foursquare. It means like I don't know what it means anymore, but it's so archaic that I don't know what this guy's problem is. He keeps doing stuff like that.
Well, we need to know it now. Foursquare.
Let's look it up.
I'm looking at it now. Foursquare, which of course is it's very hard to Google this.
Well,
because it's a product. Because it's a product.
Oh, it's a product, yeah.
Squarely and solidly. Okay. All right. Fine, Josh. Fine. Hello, old man.
As they face down this threat.
Face it down.
And that was evident throughout last week when you saw that the president's top counterterrorism advisor here at the White House was in touch with her French counterpart minutes after the reports of this terror attack first emerged. You saw later in the day that the President of the United States telephoned President Hollande to not just express his condolences on behalf of the American people to the people of France, but also to pledge any needed cooperation and assistance to conduct the investigation and to bring to justice those who are responsible for those terror attacks.
All right, so this was clearly some kind of snafu. Something went wrong. It did not go to the level that was not the president's decision, because these guys were not in the loop. They were not, and let's just presume for a moment this was more of a false flag. I'll just use that term. And there is an ends. There is a reason why this was done. Let me play. So John Kerry, of course, was.
Well, let's stop there because you say they're not in the loop. And that could be because who knew that there was going to be a bunch of these guys marching down the street for that photo op?
And they were there so quick. I mean, that happened.
In the first place, yeah, the next day, there's this Netanyahu, everybody but Putin and Obama.
Yes, yeah, correct. We had our ambassador there. But it was a political, what would you call it?
A photo op.
A gaffe. It's a gaffe, but it was a gaffe.
From the Obama side, it was a gaffe because somebody didn't tell anybody. Yeah. They were never told.
They didn't know. They were kept out of the loop, I believe. John Kerry tries to make it right as he was doing a little one of those stand-up thingies with some French guy.
And our commitment to a civilized world. I'd like to just say a quick word.
What?
Our commitment to a civilized world. What does that mean?
It's just I'm just leading in to get you to the goods. I don't play too much of this guy because he's boring.
Directly to the people of France. Je veux m'adresser directement et à tous les Français pour leur dire que tous les émeutes.
Let me tell you something.
I thought he was supposed to be fluent in French. He sounds
he sounds horrible. I also was disappointed. I'm like, really? This is the guy who was supposed to be all that? Not that great.
No.
I mean, I could probably get away with this if I rehearsed the line. All right. So then immediately we start seeing things crop up, and the message is moved towards the 4 dead in the kosher market. Okay. And here is CBS jumping on the bandwagon.
Long before these attacks, anti-Muslim prejudice was on the rise in Europe, and today there was an anti-Islamic rally in Dresden, Germany.
I'm sorry, that's the wrong clip. I didn't mean to play that one. This is the one I meant to play. I meant to play Andrea Mitchell of MSNBC. This is what I meant to play.
There are 2 other issues that need to be addressed. One is anti-Muslim sentiment throughout Europe, anti-immigration sentiment, the rise of the right wing in France, and anti-Semitism, particularly in France. How do you, of course, this is an issue of concern throughout Europe and particularly, of course, in Germany.
Of course in Germany. Of course in Germany. Okay, Ms. Mitchell, this is MSNBC who have received the memo, and not only was he on CNN, not only was he on, I believe, CBS, he was on Huffington Post's video, but he shows up on MSNBC, our guy from the Foreign Policy Initiative, the whiny Jamie Kirchhoff, the guy, I'll just remind everybody, who orchestrated Liz Wall's resignation from RT, who was out there yelling that Putin hates gays, making a big deal about it. And here he is once again.
Why wasn't this attack at the kosher grocery store a surprise to you?
Because I think Islamists have been at war with Jews for decades. And this is, certainly in France, this is not new. I mean, you have attacks going back many years against Jewish targets. 3 years ago, there was 2 years ago in Toulouse, obviously, there was a horrible attack on a Jewish school in which children were murdered.
So he's giving examples here of horrible attacks against Jews in France.
Murdered. Several years before that, a young Jewish man was captured and tortured over the course of several weeks. And there's just too many events to mention, really, over the past.
In other words, he can't remember what they agreed to. So Andrea or whoever is interviewing him, they can fix it. Yeah,
15, 20 years. So I hate to say this, but it really did not surprise me that something like this would have happened.
Yeah, I'm going to have my director throw up a full screen that shows a couple of other incidents that you didn't mention, just so people get the idea of this. And
come on.
That's bad.
That's really bad.
The extent to which this is an issue. Why are the Jewish people in France facing these types of dangers, though? What's behind it?
What's behind it?
That's not Andrea Mitchell.
No, I said, I apologize, not Andrea Mitchell. Just another MSNBC woman.
Okay, so another hack.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, with the Chiron chart ready to go.
Yeah, with the ones he forgot.
What this guy's supposed to be talking about.
What he forgot, exactly. What is behind it?
The extent to which this is an issue. Why are the Jewish people in France facing these types of dangers, though? What's behind it?
What's behind it? Do you think you could say they hate Jews again?
I think it's Islamism, and I think it's very obvious. I think we have to be very clear in stating that. And actually, I have to correct you. In your last segment, you said that Hamas and Hezbollah had condemned these attacks. They condemned the attacks on Charlie Hebdo. They did not condemn the attack on the Jewish supermarket.
Yeah, that
which should not be a surprise.
You are right.
Yes, you are right. Yes, you are right. Okay, do you understand where this is going? Then we have Benjamin Netanyahu come out and say, all Jews are welcome in Israel. We will now be making sure that immigration for French Jews is open and free and easy into Israel. And of course, he was right on deck. It was Carter, though, Jimmy Carter, who really made the connection. And I actually want to say this might have been on the Jon Stewart show.
Well, one of the origins for it is the Palestinian problem, and this aggravates people who are affiliated anyway with the Arab people who live in the West Bank and Gaza. What they're doing now, what's being done to them. Right. But I think that's part of it. We still have a hope for peace in the Middle East, but it's a distant hope. And I think that in order to have that happen, the United States has got to be in the forefront of demanding that both the Palestinians and the Israelis come together and accept a reasonable solution to the problem. Right. The Israelis have to withdraw from the West Bank and Gaza and East Jerusalem as well, and the Palestinians have to make sure that they commit themselves without equivocation to the freedom of Israel to live in peace alongside of them.
So Jimmy Carter is the only guy I really saw of any stature making the connection between the Paris attacks and the Palestinian problem. Which leads me to believe that that there is instigation for this. A lot of this attack doesn't make much sense. And if you just take this just for a moment, say, okay, maybe this was to direct attention towards the Palestinian problem. All terrorists are part of the Palestinian problem. I think there's some validity there.
I think a better analysis would be, or the better end point, end game, whatever you want to call it, advertising. Mm-hmm. Is this headline. After Paris March, Netanyahu leads PAC in Israeli election.
Yeah, okay, there you go. Of course.
We always forget this election is not over yet, and Netanyahu was not winning. Now he's winning. Of course, you would want to keep Obama away from that group because he stood out like a sore thumb right in the middle of the group walking down the street. Doesn't need Obama there, drawing attention away from him. And then there's all these memes that you cite, and I would say that I've picked up on a couple of them myself.
I'll give you the one that I like the most from the conspiracy circles. Now, Charlie Hebdo is not completely. It's not a standalone entity. It's owned by Libération. I believe it's a full subsidiary of the newspaper. Is it Libération? Libération? Is that the? There's
a publication named Libération, which is also the place where they all went to do their work after their offices became a crime scene.
Right. Now, who owns that?
I don't know.
The Rothschilds. The Rothschilds. I can tell you right now.
Oh,
Baron Eduard Rothschild.
Well,
I know
that throws a monkey wrench into the whole thing.
Doesn't that suck? I know. Oh man, really? Does it have to be like that?
I'd like to see some documentation for this
of the ownership.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
Oh yeah, no, it's in 2005. Libération acquired it, and the Rothschild. I think I got it all here. I actually got this from Dutch publications. Interesting. But yeah, I think that.
It's interesting. Libération was founded by Jean-Paul Sartre. In
1852.
And 1973. He's not that old. And it was in wake of the protest movements in May 1968. Originally an extreme left-wing paper, it has undergone a number of shifts in the 80s and 90s. Edward de Rothschild's acquisition of a 37% capital interest in 2007. And editor Serge Julay's campaign for the yes vote in the referendum, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. He has a piece of it.
That doesn't own the whole thing. Okay. All right. I thought they also acquired the rest of it. I could be wrong.
Which is probably just to prop it up. It probably was having issues.
Of course. But the connection is there. I'm just saying the connection is being made there. Now, this did spark a lot of response around Europe. I paid specific attention to that. Just a couple ones. The Belgium police. They don't take their weapons home after after their work day.
They check them in.
Yep. So they are now saying we want to take our firearms home so we can protect people, which makes sense to me. When we're off duty. We have, of course, Geert Wilders in the Netherlands, popularity rising, and not a single a lot of here's the one I want to play with the anti-Semitism or the Muslim rallies going on around Europe, which is not minor, I'll point out.
There are two other issues that need...
No, that's not the one. I keep playing this. Mitchell keeps screwing with me. Here she is.
There are two other issues that need to be...
Stop.
Well, let me play something.
I got it. I got it here. I got it here. Then we'll play that thing.
Long before these attacks, anti-Muslim prejudice was on the rise in Europe, and today...
Notice what they're saying, anti-Muslim prejudice. Coming from the Netherlands, this is really not a prejudice. It's real, actually. I understand why people are angry now. I really do. Coming from there, I get it.
There was an anti-Islamic rally in Dresden, Germany.
We are the people, they chant. But this isn't a chant about a society being united. It's a chant of exclusion. They're part of a movement protesting what they see as the threat to German culture from rising numbers of Muslim immigrants to their country. Chancellor Angela Merkel may have said Islam is part of Germany now, but not to these people. They point to the events in France as justification. Other demonstrators saying Germany should welcome Muslim refugees tried to block the path of the anti-immigrant marchers.
Notice how they're putting in Muslim refugees, which is not really where the problem stems from. This is the multicultural immigration plan that the EU has had for 15 years. This is not all of a sudden just something new with some refugees showing up.
But the marchers simply moved around them.
There were calls for this demonstration to be canceled. Passions were running too high, it was said, and out of deference to the victims in Paris. But it went ahead anyway, and it was big.
The police crowd estimate here tonight was 25,000, which would make this the biggest of the anti-immigrant demonstrations so far, but still smaller than the numbers of pro-immigration demonstrators who've been out on the streets across Germany. This is a battle of ideas, Scott, but it's also a battle of numbers.
That's right.
Well, I don't know. Let's hear what the intelligence community has to say about this by bringing in Richard Engel, who is the reporter, field reporter for NBC, and who's obviously compromised. We've documented.
He's a former intelligence guy, right?
I don't know that he is he?
I thought he was.
I have clips from Bob Baer, if you want.
Well, yeah. And why does Bob Baer get to?
That's for another segment.
Why does Bob Baer get to do everything from Colorado these days? What is that about?
Well, Richard Engel seems to be doing his report about the Paris situation from Turkey, where he was, I guess, fed what he was fed. But we have the Richard Engel report from Turkey about France. Man on the spot. Johnny on the spot in Turkey.
Week now, but one of the most likely suspects in the terrorist attack in Paris has finally claimed responsibility for it. Al-Qaeda in Yemen says it was behind the bloody assault on the offices of that satirical weekly newspaper called Charlie Hebdo. But rather than being silenced, the paper put out a new edition on the stands today. Clearly, it's bigger than ever. We have two reports on all of it tonight. We want to begin with NBC's Richard Engel in Istanbul. Richard, good evening.
Good evening, Brian. For the last year, ISIS has been dominating headlines, overshadowing al-Qaeda. Something of a dangerous rivalry is emerging, a game of one-upsmanship between the two groups. With the Paris attacks, al-Qaeda is launching a comeback.
Don't call it a comeback!
The attack on Charlie Hebdo last week was al-Qaeda's most high-profile operation in years. And today, they bragged about it. In a video, al-Qaeda in Yemen claimed it targeted the magazine for insulting the Prophet Muhammad, even laying out the chain of command behind the attack. Ordered by Ayman al-Zawahiri, Osama bin Laden's successor, planned and financed by radical American-born cleric Anwar al-Awlaki before he was killed by a U.S. drone strike in 2011.
I watched this.
Been dead for 3 years.
Yeah, I watched this whole video with the translation. Did you see the whole thing?
No.
first of all, lots of edits. It's this one guy.
And who is that guy? We've never seen him before.
And the first thing Christina said is, that's an actor who dipped his beard.
No, I would agree with her. He looks like an actor, and that beard looks like it was glued on.
Dipped. She said it's a dipped beard. Just dipped it in a little dye there to make it look cool. She was just like, and Christina's very. I think her first response was right on. She's like, what is that guy? He's an actor. Okay, great. So in this video, there are some things that are not being mentioned by the news, and it's 12 minutes. It wasn't hard for me to watch the whole thing. I don't know if any of these jabronis who are talking about it have watched it.
They don't have to. They get their talking points from one of the agencies, and they just read them.
So indeed, it was Awlaki for Awadhari who did it for Usama, not Osama, but Usama bin Laden. And then the guy says, we want the infidels to leave our lands. And then he called for something interesting. He said, if you really want to help with the jihad, you need to boycott the products of the West. That was new. I've not heard anyone say this. From
boycott, that's a little much of a Western idea, don't you think?
I'm telling you, boycott their products, which to me, John, means that it's direct relation to the boycott on Israel's, what is it, BDS or whatever they're calling it? Boycotting Israeli products?
Maybe.
What else? What other boycott of products is there in the world that is populate, that is in the populace? It's the only one is the boycotting the Israeli products. So I'm telling you, this is what's going on. I can feel it everywhere. I can feel it.
I'm still. Let's finish that report, or if you have.
You have part two. This is done.
Oh, okay. Part two.
Part two.
Reports in the Belgian press today suggest the brothers got their automatic weapons from this man, Amedi Koulibaly, who purchased them from a Belgian arms dealer who has now turned himself in to police.
Well, it makes nothing but sense they got it from Belgium.
Koulibaly also bought the 2 machine guns he used to attack the kosher market. New images from security cameras show him inside the market wearing a bulletproof vest. His hostages huddled in fear. Some of them ordered to disable the security cameras. Koulibaly killed 4 of the hostages before police stormed the market and killed him. His suspected accomplice, Hayat Boumediene, left Paris before the attacks and came here to Istanbul before disappearing into Syria. The investigation is yielding new suspects daily, but the real focus now is preventing the next attack.
That's right.
Richard Engel, NBC News, Istanbul.
Engel, in his wiki, you're right, he did not hold any political office. He speaks fluent Arabic, fluent in Italian and Spanish. And I'm just reading from the Wikipedia. His mother is of Swedish descent. His father is of Jewish descent. I'm just reading what's in here. Former Goldman Sachs guy, his dad was. Woo! Nice.
Yeah, no, it all kind of makes sense.
Now, the leaders of the free world were quick to issue a statement, a joint statement, which I have here marked up in the show notes, 687.noagendanotes.com. And has everybody on there, including, let's see, who did we have on here? Eric Holder. All right, Eric Holder is a part of this. We are proud to note the general condemnation of this awful act by people throughout the world of all denominations, and we welcome the broad support for our core values and norms. I'm just going to go down this a little bit. We utterly condemn the shocking and cowardly terrorist attack, blah, blah, blah. We reaffirm our unfailing attachment to the freedom of expression, to human rights, to pluralism, to democracy, to tolerance, and the rule of law. We reaffirm our unfailing solidarity and our determination to fight together against terrorism in accordance, in particular, with United Nations Security Council Resolution 1377 and 2178. I looked those up. You can see those in the show notes if you're interested. But more important is point number 3 on this joint statement. We underline in particular the importance of the commitment of all the actors at every level who work in the fight against radicalization. I always love it when they use the word actors. I know it's correct usage, but
it's amusing.
It messes me up. Here we are. We are concerned at the increasingly frequent use of the internet to fuel hatred and violence and signal our determination to ensure that the internet is not abused to this end. while safeguarding that it remains in scrupulous observance of fundamental freedoms, a forum for free expression in full respect of the law. With this in mind, the partnership of the major internet providers is essential to create the conditions of a swift reporting of material that aims to incite hatred and terror, and the condition of its removing where appropriate / possible. This is, of course,
censorship.
And David Cameron took this to heart and spoke to the people of Gitmo Nation East.
The second thing, which is more contentious, is about accessing the content of a telephone call or another form of communication.
And by the way, he set this up. I cut this part out. He talked about what they have now. They just had this legislation about the metadata, which includes what website addresses you have visited, although not the content of that. And now he wants to add something.
And here again, the same problem exists. Will we be able to access the content of communications as the internet and new ways of communicating develop? Now, I have a very simple principle to apply here, which should be at the heart of the legislation that will be necessary. And the simple principle is this. In our country, do we want to allow a means of communication between people which, even in extremis, with a signed warrant from the Home Secretary personally, that we cannot read?
This doesn't sound like a good idea, John. What do you think? With this Home Secretary,
I don't even know what he said.
He's saying, do we want to have communications possible that cannot be read or listened to, even if there is a warrant signed personally by the Home Secretary?
This is aimed at you, Apple.
Now, up until now, governments of this country have said no. We must not have such a means of communication. That is why, in extremis, it's been possible to read someone's letter. That is why, in extremis, it's been possible to listen in to someone's telephone.
Oh, yes.
That is why the same applies with mobile communications.
Yes.
Let me stress again, this
what
cannot
about whispering in someone's ear?
Well, that's next.
Unless the Home Secretary personally signs a warrant. We have a better system for safeguarding this very intrusive power than probably any other country I can think of. But the question remains, are we going to allow a means of communication where it simply isn't possible to do that?
This is the question. Are we going to allow a means of communication between citizens, but of course, in his view, that's just terrorists, that the government cannot listen in on or read? Are we going to allow that? That is the central question.
And my answer to that question is no, we must not.
No, you stupid citizens. No, 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 no.
The first duty of any government is to keep our country and our people safe.
No, I disagree. The United States' first duty of the government is to protect and uphold the Constitution.
Yeah, well,
not of every government.
You seem to be the only guy that mentions. Let's go back to this thing about the Muslims and the Jews.
Hold on, I want to finish this.
Well, this is all you've gone off the track, though.
Why? I'm moving forward.
Censorship when we haven't.
I'm moving forward.
All right, keep going.
You want to go back to the Jew thing?
I have a couple of clips that are interesting.
I'm sorry.
It relates to it.
I'm sorry. Let's do it then. I'll stop here.
First of all,
I'll stop.
I was watching France 24. I just want to bring in this idea that maybe the Muslims are being unfairly targeted.
Okay.
Which I think
is very possible.
You kind of had there, and then you jumped to this.
I'm sorry, but I didn't realize you had stuff to do.
Yes.
Good. Let's do it.
So I was watching France 24, and they had this analyst on. I didn't clip this because she was going on and on. She made the claim, and she made it very clearly, that it's bullshit that every Muslim in the world gives a crap about a cartoon of Muhammad.
No,
this is bogus. And I started thinking about this. This is a construct of Western media.
Yes.
In fact, there's one clip, this was on another thing, where it's a short one. This is a man on the street, one of the man on the street things. It says, Muslims not offended by cover.
Okie doke.
Muslim population, and we've discovered a wide variety of reactions to the new edition of Charlie Hebdo.
Regarding the cover, some Muslims in France will take it differently, but in general, we are not upset. What's important is that we condemn the attacks.
That, to me, is the Muslim on the street.
And I think it makes sense. I agree with you that this is a construct. Moreover, if you just listen to the apologists in the media, why they will not show the cover. They say because it insults everybody. Everyone's all gets all bent out of shape.
Yeah. And by the way, the latest cover, which is really mild.
Very mild.
Just has a picture of, another cartoon of some generic Arab named Mohammed.
Right.
Holding a sign that says, Je suis Charlie, and that's it.
Listen to the 3 quick apologist clips, Andrea Mitchell.
And all of the networks of the NBC News Group have made the decision, editorial decision, not to show it because we don't publish things that are as provocative as Charlie Hebdo is.
So
That's
provocative.
An editorial decision.
Oh, yes, that cover is so provocative. Sky News in the UK.
I'm very sad that journalists in UK do not support us, that journalists in UK betray what journalism is about by thinking that people cannot be grown enough to decide if a drawing is offending or not because you're not even showing it. Is this, which is completely crazy, that in UK you cannot show a simple drawing as that.
So with Mohammed at Sky News, we've chosen not to show that cover, so we would appreciate Caroline not showing that. I do apologise.
She grabs the cover and starts holding it up. They cut away from her.
We're going to go there. You might as well play Beck on Vile Stuff.
Oh, lovely.
This is Glenn Beck, and he's feeding his right-wing audience this.
So as these things are going on, they still are not saying that it's Islamic extremism. Now, here's why this is important. Because if the president stood with the rest of the world, then the press needs to ask the question, Mr. President, what is the difference between these cartoons, which were highly offensive, and besmirching and smearing the good name of the Prophet Muhammad? This is a slander on the Prophet Muhammad. Do we all agree on that?
No question.
No question.
Oh, yeah.
If this were done, I'm questioning it.
I'm all in. How about you, Johnny? Slander.
Slander. We all agree with whatever you say, Glenn.
Slander.
If this were done on Jesus,
offensive. They were just juvenile at best.
Yeah.
If anything was offensive at all.
Yeah.
And I take issue with that, and it's all part of this anti-Muslim thing in some awkward way. And the clip that came from another one of these news services, I think this was maybe NHK, the anti-Muslim report. Play this.
France is at the highest state of alert following the attack on Charlie Hebdo. Some 10,000 troops have been deployed across the country to guard major train terminals and tourist spots. Mm-hmm. There's been an angry reaction around the world to the latest edition of Charlie Hebdo. The Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesperson says the image is provocative and cannot be tolerated. She calls it a misrepresentation of freedom of expression. At the same time, she criticized last week's attack in France, saying it went against the teachings of Islam. Indonesia's largest Islamic group, Nahdlatul Ulama, has also expressed disappointment. While condemning the shooting, senior member Slamet Effendi Yusuf says the editors of Charlie Hebdo have not learned from the attack. Slamet says the freedom of expression should not be used to insult what many people regard as holy. He warned of more violence if the media and the public allow such blasphemy to continue. Indonesia is the largest Islamic state in the world, with more than 200 million Muslims.
So we have a kind of an analysis here, which just has all these people up in arms, but it's not. It's just it's the radicals that are up in arms.
Yeah.
And we don't even know how many of those there are. Most normal Muslims don't give a crap about a cartoon at all. But the American media pushes this, so everybody, they're offended, and when they're not. This whole thing is complete fabrication by the media. Now, going back to when this first happened, I do remember some people saying, "Well, this will be part of a scheme to dissociate the Muslim community and radicalize more people by making the public turn against them." Well, which is hard to do in France, but it could be done.
The meme I'm hearing is this is something that the Islam has to fight out amongst themselves. They're saying it's a what is the term I heard? It's a civil war in Islam amongst Islamists.
I've heard this too.
Yeah.
This is another construction by the Western media. because we've heard this forever, and this began years ago with the why don't the moderate Muslims speak up? And we talk about this.
Yeah, they do, but no one puts them on TV.
Speak up a lot, and nobody cares. Nobody wants to play that part because it's not interesting.
I will say, we did have the FBI is trying to do this. They're trying to make this happen with this stupid kid from Ohio. Have you been following this story?
Oh, I have a clip.
I have a clip too.
Well, you play your clip first.
Okay, I want to play the backgrounder clip first. This is ABC's package on this Ohio kid who didn't really do anything other than buy a plane ticket.
The FBI revealing late today an alleged homegrown plot. Authorities say an Ohio man inspired by ISIS
again, this inspired. Everything's inspired. They're bringing it right back to Inspire magazine every single time.
Al-Qaeda bought 2 M15 assault rifles and a huge stock of ammunition. They say he was then headed to the nation's capital, where he was allegedly planning to take aim at members of Congress. Let's get
they changed the story.
Oh, yeah.
This story changes every time you hear it.
Do you have a different story you want to listen to real quick?
Let's play Homegrown Terrorist 1.
Okie dokie. Hold on a second. Number 1, the story changes.
NBC Nightly News with Brian Williams.
Okay. Good evening. The feds say they were on to it early, but tonight they've announced they've stopped a plan apparently inspired by ISIS to attack the U.S.
Could we get any more crazy with the talking points?
Capitol and those inside it. It's an example, they say, of the kind of lone wolf attack that can get its inspiration from people and movements overseas. We begin tonight with late details from our Justice correspondent Pete Williams in our D.C. newsroom. Pete, good evening.
Good evening.
Brian, good evening. U.S. officials say this is precisely what they worry about most. Someone in the U.S. becoming inspired by terrorist propaganda to carry out attacks here at home.
And let me just point out the obvious.
Can we use the word inspired more?
Yeah, I think we can. And the obvious is the people being targeted by these lone wolves, self-radicalized, are journalists and politicians. Hello, that's what other groups do you need to target? That's it.
Huge stock of ammunition. They say he was then headed to the nation's capital, where he was allegedly planning to take aim at members of Congress. Ugh. Let's get right to ABC senior justice correspondent Pierre Thomas, who's been working his sources on this.
Pierre is full of poop.
David, tonight the FBI has arrested what it claims is an Al-Qaeda ISIS wannabe hell-bent on violence.
The plan, an all-out assault on the U.S. Capitol and members of Congress.
All out.
The weapons, pipe bombs and semi-automatic rifles to shoot and kill employees and officials.
Now, this is a 20-year-old schmuck, I want to remind you.
The suspect, identified as Christopher Lee Cornell, seen here in his high school wrestling photo, was arrested this morning after buying 2 M15 assault rifles like this and 600 rounds of ammunition.
As soon as the purchase was over and he left the door, several agents came out and tackled him here in the parking lot.
That is the proprietor of the gun store, and he's smiling like he was in on it, which I think he probably was. Yeah, as soon as he bought it, purchase was done, they jumped on him. Yeah, we got that terrorist.
You can't buy guns in Idaho?
No, not if you're a terrorist. That's why they jump on you.
Took him down.
According to the FBI, Cornell, who is only 20 years old, took the final steps today to travel to the nation's capital. The FBI...
Oh, no. He was going to Washington, D.C.
Locked in on Cornell after a confidential informant came in with a tip that Cornell had been posting disturbing messages and videos on Twitter, expressing support for Al-Qaeda and ISIS. One Twitter message stated, "I believe we should wage jihad under our own orders and plan attacks." At one point, he cites the long-dead radical cleric Anwar al-Awlaki of al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula as having already given the thumbs up for such attacks. Cornell is the latest of more than 50 so-called homegrown radicals arrested by the FBI in recent years, many who saw al-Awlaki as inspiration.
Lovely. Inspiration again. Okay.
Another use of the word. And then al-Awlaki, by the way, it seems as though they're making a post-mortem case against him. So at some point, somebody will be in front of Congress when they're grilled again about why did you drone this American, and they're going to roll this. Oh, well, it's because he did this, and after he was dead, then blah blah blah. This is what he was doing. He was planning all this stuff. Of course, no one brings up the 16-year-old son sitting in a cafe with his buddies getting droned for some reason.
Or that Anwar al-Awlaki was a featured Pentagon luncheon speaker
Right, that too.
Just one of those minor things that's irritating. So
we have homegrown terrorists too. If you want to finish this section,
yeah, but I have more about this kid. But yeah, okay, let's do it.
The FBI says 20-year-old Christopher Lee Cornell of Green Township, Ohio, wanted to set off pipe bombs at the U.S. Capitol and shoot people as they fled. Investigators say he came to their attention last August when he posted pro-ISIS messages on...
I think it's the same report. I think we get it.
Well, the thing is, this is different than your report. This was to bomb the place and then shoot people as they were running out. The other,
I didn't have that. I didn't have that.
It's something else. It was some other screwy thing.
Hold on. They bring out the mom, and they force her to read a statement. All right? And listen to this.
His attorney says that this is a case of his client and many young people, how they can be brainwashed by the social media messages out there. His mother today, Ashley, had a very impassioned statement. Here's what she had to say. Take a listen.
And listen to this. I'm telling you, she was forced to read this.
As parents, we feel compelled to speak out about the recent events in Paris where we saw unspeakable acts of horror. We condemn the brutal tactics of ISIS and groups like it, and we condemn the brainwashing and recruiting of children through the use of social media and the internet. And we have a message for ISIS, Mr. Baghdadi and his fellow social media recruiters. Leave our children alone.
What is this accent?
She felt compelled to give that statement, given what happened, the horrific events in Paris, France.
What is this accent?
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
I don't know what it is. I believe she is from a foreign country.
Well, it sounds like it. But that could be Idaho.
But here's what happened last night, and I wish I had a little better audio of it, but it is mind-blowing. Anderson Cooper has on the phone the father of this kid. And he is not from a foreign. He's a good old American. We'll play it until we're done with it. But he very clearly states that he was coerced by the FBI. They paid him. They set him up. Complete setup. And yes, and we know this is what really is happening.
Yeah, this is what goes on.
The internet recruiters are the FBI.
You just got to let people be who they are and believe in what they want to be.
So what do you think? Do you think the law enforcement is not telling the truth? Do you think that they led him on? Or do you think it's possible your son really was plotting something?
Yeah, nice lead in there, Anderson. But make sure the dad thinks his kid is a crazy jihadist.
Well, I'll tell you what. If he posted some things, he may have said some things out of anger, right? If he posted some stuff on social network, it's there. They have access to that. But what I'm saying is this. An informant turned this stuff over to the FBI months ago, right? And introduced him to another friend, right? Which happened to be an FBI agent, right? And I think Chris has only left the house to go anywhere like maybe 2 or 3 times in months, in months. And he was supposedly going to a mosque. Well, in actuality, what I believe was it was an FBI agent picking him up, taking him maybe to an apartment. And I think Chris was coerced into a lot of this. Well, I know he's my son, but I would be the first, heck, I wish I could go over there and fight ISIS, but I'm an old man. You know what I mean?
Well, Mr. Cornell, I know this has just got to be stunning for you. I know, you thought he was sleeping at home last night. He left a note for you saying he was going to be leaving, that he'd left home, and that was the first words you'd gotten of that.
Anderson's really trying to bring it back to the terrorist.
So the old man is essentially, and I use that word, saying when he did that little background that his kid's stupid and impressionable.
Yes.
He actually he said that.
Yes, he did.
Right, and then he blamed the FBI, and the FBI finds stupid, impressionable kids, or any age, I guess, and then they bring in some guy who's really good sales guy. Yes. And he sells them. I mean, this is the way you do it. This is what the Army does to a lot of people when they bring. I mean, you get basic training and you come out, or Marines for that matter, and your mindset has changed considerably. It doesn't take that much.
Here's what blew me away, though. Here's what blew me away. So this father, I'll skip past this bit where he says, "Hey, all of a sudden the kid had $2,000. Where'd he get the money from?" Then Pooper goes into, straight from that, to an analyst. And here's what blew me away. The analyst, you will hear him say, literally, the FBI stays on the case, coerces. Yeah, they might have to pay the guy so they don't lose the kid who's on his way to committing They are literally explaining how they set these poor schmucks up without any shame.
Yeah, there is no shame because nobody calls him for this.
Father there, as you just heard, talked about his son being angry, recent conversion. FBI agent starts to run the operation. The kid starts to say,
Starts to run the operation, i.e. coercion, yes.
Do something about it. The kid doesn't have any money. He talks about acquiring a weapon. You got a couple options. You can say, we won't give you the money. At that point, you don't control the operation. That kid might say, hey, I'll go someplace else. All of a sudden, the operation is very difficult to understand. Maybe he goes and finds a weapon someplace else and conducts an operation you don't know about. So you step along to close this out over the course of months. You ask him a dozen times. This is the informant. You sure you want to do this? You sure you want to do this?
This is how I have an idea. FBI, I have an idea. If someone turns over some information to you about a kid who is maybe self-radicalizing, with the right messaging from the right people, from real jihadi recruiters, not the FBI jihadi recruiters, who may be the real jihadi recruiters, without that coercion, with a couple months, he could actually go and do something. How about this? Hey, kid, stop that. Or, hey, kid, let's have a chat and see what's going on with you. Or, hey, parents. No. The FBI feels
No, that's called policing. You can't do that. That's different than law enforcement. You can't go and tell some guy to stop doing something, because then you're not interfering with what might be something you can arrest him for.
I'm flabbergasted.
This is going on, and Eric the Shill pointed out, and I'll mention this. This could be, and because I kind of suggested, he said, you better put the date down. Perfect date, right? We're halfway through January. Let's start that 6-week thing again, boys.
I was going to say that, because these guys, and they may tighten it down to 6 days at this point.
Well, I don't know. They did so well with 6 weeks. So we're looking at, halfway through here.
End of February, we'll have another one. On the end of February, if it's 6 weeks.
Yeah, March 1st.
I'm blown away by this. But actually saying it, oh man, the guy runs it, we got to give him some money. No, just stop the kid. The kid needs help. He needs some guidance. He needs some teachers, some people in the community. He doesn't need FBI egging him on, giving him money to buy weapons.
It's good for their numbers.
It's great for their numbers.
And the Alawaki bull crap, they can use that in testimony later.
And kill people.
Well, it was a good thing we did that, because look at all these things that happened.
Hell yeah.
What he had planned.
Hell yeah. Here is, then Pooper has Giuliani on. And Giuliani, oh man. This guy is a whole extraordinaire.
He is getting on the tit
of the military industrial complex
and all the bull crap he's got all in on.
He's raising money. Here's his pitch.
The FBI has no other choice. I mean, the FBI was criticized in the Boston Marathon for not turning over enough information to the Boston police about the two brothers who were going to attack. So you have to follow these things through. I mean,
no, you don't have to follow it through.
How can you lead somebody into talking about attacking the Capitol? If somebody's talking about attacking the Capitol.
So he's laughing, saying, you can't lead somebody to talking about attacking the Capitol. That's just crazy talk. That's not that hard. You say, hey, have you thought of attacking the Capitol? The guy says, yeah. Or if he doesn't say, yeah, you keep at it. It's not laughable, Giuliani.
The FBI has to take that seriously. And if they didn't, and this man attacked the Capitol, can you imagine the criticism of the FBI tonight?
Afford a gun.
I mean,
didn't build a pipe bomb,
and they make this all sound
it's
so
one of the weakest jobs. Usually the other guys, they get them, they have to push a button or something.
Yeah, they got a remote control. Yeah, this was not a good one. I agree.
No, this was weak. This is the best they could do. It was lousy. They must have changed some staff.
Let's go to the pitch.
The criticism of the agents of the FBI if they didn't follow this through. So I mean, you've got to be responsible for the words that you utter.
Oh,
do you believe that
you must be responsible for the words that you utter? Did you utter anything? Come on, where does free speech end, and where does terrorism tracking and coercion start?
There is a kind of a new wave of a new style of attacks. I mean, since Mumbai.
This is Pooper setting it up.
What?
Yeah,
this is interesting. This is script.
Oh, yeah. No, this is script. This is script. This is the new wave.
We've seen these kind of small-scale attacks where even a handful of people, we saw it against the Indian embassy in Kabul, Afghanistan. We've seen it in various locations in Pakistan. Certainly now we've seen it in Paris.
Here's a frustration that I have. This goes way back. This isn't as new as we think it is. Ben Laden wrote about this.
Ben Laden. Now it's Ben Laden. Ben Laden. Dude named Ben Laden. Yeah.
1998, 1999. How to energize these individual people or little groups of people. We saw it in 2005 in London. That was only a 4-person attack.
Oh, yeah.
From
I get it.
People some of whom were English citizens. So this sort of lone wolf, smaller attack has been going on for quite some time. And I think it
happens in society all the time. It's a-holes. It happens all the time. But when you use it to coerce the people into giving up their true essential freedom and liberty and privacy, this is not good.
Very, very big danger. And I think it's much more difficult for law enforcement to follow.
Big danger.
Because they're spread out. There's so many more of them. They don't use international communications as much, so we're not picking it up in the satellites. This is a very, very big challenge, and it puts a tremendous amount of pressure on the local police.
And if somebody doesn't have if a potential terrorist doesn't have in the United States, doesn't have a social media profile.
Well, hold on. You can't be a proper terrorist without a social media profile. Hello, Anderson. Everybody knows if you're a terrorist, you got to have a good social media profile.
Hasn't been spouting off on Twitter or somewhere else. It's even hard.
Very hard to find. This is why I've preached for 7 or 8 years every time I speak to the FBI. You've got to use your local police, of which we have 800,000 in America.
This guy goes on forever. It goes on forever. At the end of it's money, more resources, more money, because that's where he is. That's his wheelhouse, is where the more money is.
Yeah, he's got nothing else to do but scam the American taxpayer.
So the White House refuses to use the term radical Islam. And this is a part of something that they got. Something is messed up with this. Why would they not use the term radical Islam for the Paris attack?
Well, according to Glenn Beck, it's because it implies that Obama's all in with these guys.
Which is indeed the implication.
Yeah.
Allies have described the ideology that
this is a White House briefing again.
You call a warped view of Islam by calling it radical Islam. They're not saying we're at war with Islam. They agree with you totally in every word you just said. But they are calling the ideology, the warped view that these people adhere to, by a name. And it seems that the White House has gone to great lengths to avoid ever calling it anything other than, warped view. And I'm wondering, is there a reason for that?
Yeah, and I guess I'm doing my best to try to explain to you what that is. The first is accuracy. We want to describe exactly what happened. These are individuals who carried out an act of terrorism, and they later tried to justify that act of terrorism by invoking the religion of Islam and their own deviant view of it. The second is,
I don't think that's true. The media changed it into whatever they wanted it to be. They had one Allahu Akbar, and we heard the guy say in French, I'm avenging the Prophet Muhammad.
An act that was roundly condemned by Muslim leaders. Again, I'm describing to you the reasons why we have not chosen to use that label, because it doesn't seem to accurately describe what had happened. We also don't want to be in a situation where we are legitimizing what we consider to be a completely illegitimate justification for this violence, this act of terrorism.
Almost legitimate.
Again, I'm not going to...
You understand. They just won't do it. They just will not do it.
Yeah.
Will not do it. So when you say you had actually a good term. A construct from the media, is that what you called it?
Media construct, probably. Construct.
Judge Jeanine Pirro.
Man, you're really digging today.
Oh, but this...
Somebody sent this to you.
Everybody sent this to me.
Well, they didn't send it to me.
No, but you don't read your email.
I read all my email.
I know you do. So Judge Jeanine, she was a prosecutor, Westchester of New York.
Yeah, she's a Judge Judy wannabe.
Yeah. She's on Fox, and she has a 7-minute rant, which we can't play all of it because
she is, I watch her, and she's sometimes the voice of reason, and most of the time she is a lunatic. Is this lunatic or voice of reason?
Which one would you prefer?
Well, the lunatic, I think, gets the numbers and gets that audience, that audience of idiots that listen to stuff. No offense, Fox listeners.
Yeah.
But those guys are full of it.
I'll give you the opening, and then you tell me if this is voice of reason or is this lunatic.
We need to kill them. We need to kill them.
Lunatic.
It gets better.
The radical Muslim terrorists hell-bent on killing us. You're in danger. I'm in danger. We're at war.
You're in danger.
And this is not going to stop. After this week's brutal terror attacks in France, hopefully everybody now gets it. And there's only one group that can stop this war. The Muslims themselves.
See, there she is.
Here we go again.
This is what it is. This is the message.
Our job is to arm those Muslims to the teeth, give them everything they need to take out these Islamic fanatics. Let them do the job. We need to simply look the other way.
That was a glitch that was in every single recording. She said, let them do the job, and when they do, we'll simply look the other way.
It is time for the...
What kind of a judge, what kind of a law enforcement official would
officer of the court,
something like this?
Officer of the court.
Okay, what sort of officer of the court would even suggest something like this?
The lunatic
lunatic,
yes. And I like looking at her, but my penis went inside when I saw her doing this. I had an innie. It was so frightening. This woman is scary.
To be over and stop sending American dollars to any Arab country that does not support this mission. Pakistan at the top of the list. Force Arab nations to choose. They're either with us or they're against us.
Hello, George Bush.
Well, she didn't even
say... When you have the innie, by the way, as you punch yourself in the stomach, that makes it pop out.
And stop with this nuclear negotiation nonsense. They don't operate the way we do.
No.
You can't negotiate, you can't mediate, and you can't bargain. You can't even reason with these people.
These people are crazy. But at a certain point, she throws this in.
We need to kill them.
Oh, I'm sorry, not that one.
We need to kill them.
I meant this one.
Bomb them, and bomb them again.
Wow.
I mean,
this is what passes for punditry on Fox. People should be reminded of this. This is idiotic, an idiotic discussion on her part.
It is completely...
Especially when half of this is rigged.
Yes. I mean, I could go on if you want to hear more.
Well, I think, what you have to do is we should kill them, cut.
I have it.
We should bomb them, and that should be an evergreen.
Well, hello.
We need to kill them. We need to kill them. Bomb them, and bomb them again.
I have it ISO'd, man. I'm way ahead of you. You kidding me?
Oh, yeah.
You kidding me? These are evergreens. Classic.
That's evergreen.
Instant classics.
And bomb them.
Crazy. But okay, that's fine. Here's Dempsey.
We do a lot of bombing, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Dempsey.
Oh,
yeah. I had to put this in because what is the term when someone's S's whistle?
Sibilance.
Someone's got to talk to this guy. They need to adjust his nose or something has to be adjusted because it's now such a distraction You can barely understand what the guy is talking about, but it is clearly about inspiration.
What training did
the two clips?
Huh?
Before you get carried away, I'd make sure you get I got some inspiration stuff.
I'll do this, and then we'll do your inspirations. Is your lozenge ready?
I'm taking the lozenge now, so I stop coughing.
Good.
What training did the two brothers get in the Middle East, terror training? And was this attack directed either by al-Qaeda or ISIS?
These individuals were inspired in some way. They didn't...
Inspired in some way. It gets worse.
They were probably not self-radicalized on the internet, which is another way that these attacks sometimes occur. There is pretty clear indication that one of them did, in fact, receive some training in Yemen, and that there's a linkage among them, whether it's schools or
comic books,
family relationships. As far as whether it was directed by al-Qaeda, I don't think that linkage has been established.
Oh, really? Well, that's strange, seeing as AQAP has...
He hasn't been paying attention.
What can you in the military do to prevent attacks like this here in the U.S.? Do we need to step up our efforts against AQAP?
Yeah, get the military on the streets.
Or ISIS. And does this contradict President Obama's contention that we have al-Qaeda on the run?
Fundamentally, our capabilities are designed so that the country can play an away game against its adversaries.
We can play an away game.
Away game? What is this?
Yeah, it's like a Super Bowl of jihadists.
So what we try to do across this...
oh, man, I was getting back. I think when he's lying is when it gets worse.
This
it's possible.
Swath of radical extremism that stretches really from the Fatah, and I suppose we might say all the way over to Nigeria.
He pretty much, they show a map, a whole swath from Nigeria, Western Africa, all the way over to China, basically. That's a swath.
We try to keep pressure on that network with the suite of capabilities that we have.
A suite of capabilities.
Whether it's intelligence, building partners, in some cases direct action.
Do we need to do more?
Well, I think so, absolutely.
Yeah,
but
why not?
But that's not to imply we're not doing enough, if you understand the distinction there. We're doing a lot. I do think that this organization called ISIL, or Daesh in Arabic, they are inspiring groups that already exist to rebrand themselves. But in rebranding themselves...
Oh, we have a rebranding coming up.
They rebrand themselves into a more radical ideology, and that's what makes it dangerous.
No.
We need to kill them.
That's what we need to do.
We need to kill them.
You need to kill them. Man. But there are people sitting at home going, Christina was telling me she flew from L.A. Almost a week ago now. And she was sitting next to some kid from Colorado. Well, he was immigrant in Colorado. He was from, I think, maybe Pakistan, I want to say. And they were just chatting away. And he said, man, it's crazy. In Colorado right now, he takes ESL, English as a second language, special courses. And then they had to bring in, kids who speak English as a first language. And a whole bunch of them, their parents wouldn't let them. The children are saying amongst each other, hey, man, what is up with you guys, you fucking terrorists? The kids have been brainwashed into believing this now.
Thank you, media, for screwing with these kids who are innocents.
Yes.
They're innocents.
Yes.
Guys, right.
Yeah.
No, it's inexcusable. Nobody cares. Sells whatever they sell.
Yeah, but inexcusable is the word. I mean, these are just kids.
Yeah.
Like, the terrorists. Yeah, obviously terrorists.
Bullying. You get all about bullying. Nobody says anything about this.
No.
Which is a form of bullying, if you ask me.
It's totally a form of bullying. Should we take a quick break here, John?
Well, actually, I want to bring something up into the mix. Okay. Well, actually, I'll bring it up. I have this clip I want to use before the next break, which is the report you'll only hear on No Agenda.
Ooh, well, why don't we thank a couple people for their courage, like you as an example? And I would like to say, in the morning to you.
In the morning to you,
John C. Dvorak.
In the morning to all the ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and all the knights out there.
In the morning, everybody in the chat room, noagendastream.com, depleting your $9.2 million value there as a human resource. In the morning to our artistes, 20-watt bulb again with the artwork. There was some good art, and it was challenging for us. Sometimes it's just the best one, and it can be two in a row. It happens.
No, if you remember, Martin JJ had that string of about seven.
Yeah, 6 or 7 in a row. Absolutely. NoAgendaArtGenerator.com, please check it out, and also thank you to all of our artists who are always submitting. We use art for other things, newsletters, etc. But it's also just a cool site to go take a look at. And we have a disappointing showing, I believe.
Oh yes, we did very poorly. Thank you very much, everyone. But we did have an offering for 214 for Valentine's Day to get a double
producership. I saw the newsletter, yeah.
And we had 3 people take us up on that, so there's a lot of romantics out there, apparently, out of the 13,000 on the mailing list. But let's thank the people that did help. In fact, we don't have any official executive producer, so the
highest associate becomes the
so
this hasn't happened in a long time.
It happened in November.
Okay.
So Christopher Wolf in Mooresville, Indiana, who donated 250 cents, becomes the executive producer, and he sends in a nasty note. Apparently, I don't know whether he was ever knighted, but he doesn't get as much response to his email. He also has a disc that he wants me to send to you. I need your address. I keep losing it. But he doesn't.
It's all right. I don't have yours either.
Yeah.
Probably better that way.
Adam said he never received his thing. Well, then he sent me an email complaining to me. And I said, I'll make this right. I never heard anything for a couple of weeks. A follow-up email to John asking if anything figured out resulted in no response. So now I am scratching my head and wondering what the fuck. I have been listening since episode 250, and I'm getting near my second knighthood. Actually, just made it. So he has actually the baronet today. And anyway,
is there a thing that you were supposed to send me from him?
Yeah.
Can you tell what said thing was, or is that?
It was a CD that he produces.
Okay. All right.
And I didn't send it.
It's all right. You'll get it to me.
I lost it. But I have the next one. I did. But I have the new one, and I will send it to you because he's got all the postage and stuff on it.
I have a P.O. box now. I have a P.O. box.
Oh, that's perfect.
P.O. box.
Send it to the P.O. box.
Here it is, 41958, 41958, Austin, Texas, 78704. Do not send any money or checks there because that screws up everything.
Yeah, because then he has to send them to me because they go into the account up here. He can't.
So 41958.
He's not near the deposit point.
No, please don't do that. Don't do that. All right, well, cool. He'll be baronet. We'll mention that in our ceremony.
I don't know if he was ever knighted, but he should be.
Well, if he wants to be, then he needs to let us know.
Well,
if he wasn't, I can't remember.
Well, I don't know. It's a long note. Maybe he said something in here. I don't see it.
All right.
I mean, it could be in here.
I'm going to give him some karma then, just to make sure that he feels good about himself.
You've got karma.
Because he had the karma, made him executive producer with an associate level, so that's cool.
Okay, now send the disc.
Thank you.
Sir D.H. Slammer's on the list with $214.33. His donation takes advantage of the Valentine's Day double associate producership, but is actually really for our anniversary on 1/21/01. Can we get added to the birthday list? This is a request from Baronet and a dame, after all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Dame Bang Bang and D.H. Slammer.
Bang,
sure,
bang, bang.
Of course.
This donation is for the account of Dame Bang Bang to commemorate her being weird enough to find a way to stay with me for 14 years of marriage, 12/21/01, and 19 years overall. 5 years it took her to snag him.
She is our resident Native American.
I'd like to give her a Valentine's Day double associate producership, so this goes to her.
Nice.
We'll have to put that on. Put the list up. This dame is the only person I could possibly put up with for this long, and that's the greatest compliment I could give anyone. Here's to another 33 years, if not more. Happy anniversary, Dame Bang Bang. I couldn't imagine myself with anyone else but you.
Aw.
Yeah, give them both some karma for that.
A little bit of love karma for the lovebirds. Absolutely.
You've got karma.
Another $214 comes in from Hassan Maynard in Bayshore, New York. And unfortunately, his note got concatenated, and he never sent in an email. So if he has something else to say, well, I'm sure we'll expect it in the future. I realize that the No Agenda podcast has no black or white, left or right, rich or poor. In fact, our audience may encompass listeners of those statures and or attributes. However, it's you two, John and Adam, who and then it ends. Who make it work.
Who make it all happen. Who bring down the glory. Who bring home the bacon.
I would guess that he wants karma.
We'll hand that to him.
You've got karma.
Hold on.
And finally, Sir Craig Pizzella, Sir Mad Hatter in Fairfield, Connecticut, $214. ITM John and Adam love the idea of the $214 donation for this most bogative of bogative holidays. I agree. Yeah. And would like the amount credited to my hot MILF wife, Jamie, towards her pursuit of dameship.
That's nice.
Is this what it would be? Yes, dameship.
Yeah, dameship.
A couple of shows ago, you discussed the continued attribution of North Korea as the source of the Sony hack by the FBI, namely Director Comey. I happen to be one of those attendees at the International Conference on Cybersecurity, which is where he, along with Clapper, Admiral Rogers, and former Director Mueller, were distinguished speakers. Aside from Admiral Rogers, none of them would take anything other than pre-screened questions from the audience. Needless to say, there was no opportunity to challenge the compelling evidence they shared with us, specifically that damn source IP address.
Oh, yes, that would be
I'm sure you can understand a room full of security admins are skeptical of such evidence. Overall, the conference boiled down to what has always been the relationship between the public and private sectors. Their idea of sharing is the citizens give them information and get nothing in return. And by the way, this meme is continuing, as we will point out later as the show goes on, because it's going on as we speak.
Dude named Ben.
Their idea of sharing is the citizens give them information and get nothing in return. In all the years I've been working with the intelligence community, it's never been any other way.
Gee.
Keep up the good work. My mind appreciates the twice weekly dose of reality you two deliver. Sir Mad Hatter of the Fifth Column.
Right.
There you have it.
The Fifth Column is also everywhere.
Now you have it. Anyway, that's pretty, well, did we expect anything other than such a, you have to pre-screen questions, you don't really answer anything, I'm sure these security guys are talking amongst themselves that this is bull crap. But okay.
Yeah.
The public doesn't know, and that's the way.
I would say so. Did that come up on Twitter at all? I fell asleep. Did that come up on Twitter at all on the last show?
I don't remember because it was mostly about CES, but on the show, I think in previous shows, Twitter is not buying into the government. Usually, I mean, they tend to, but in this case, no, because everybody knows. Everybody knows it's bull crap.
Oh, so they just stay away from it. Okay, that makes sense. Got it. Two quick PR mentions before we move on. I want to thank School of Podcasting, schoolofpodcasting.com. My absolute favorite podcast. Dave Jackson over there is doing it again, and we had our Sergeant Fred for here it is. No agenda to something few podcasts do. You stayed as Fred's favorite for 2 years in a row. I want to thank Sergeant Fred for that, and a reminder that we have, and I've put this into the PR section of the show notes. We had the No Agenda QSO Party 2015. January 30th through February 1st, 2015. NoAgendaQSOParty.com, QSOParty.com. This is our big QSO party, John.
All right.
Yeah, we're going to...
I get my little device out of the car.
Yes. And it's kind of cool because the way it's set up, so you make a call. It's going to be CQ No Agenda QSO Party 2015. And then the other station will respond with your RST, so your signal report, and then you are supposed to pass on the following information: year you started listening to No Agenda, and your contributor status, if applicable. P for producer, K for knight or dame, B for baron or baronet, D for duke, or C for creator.
Well, there's also the Viscount.
Oh, you need to have a V in there, although they'll adjust that. Well, you could just do V, I guess.
And Earl.
Yeah. Yeah. And this can be when you're doing CW Morse code. Then it's all in here. It's fun to watch, fun to look at, and I'll be participating.
Are you going to check in and be a celebrity?
Yeah, there's super big points if someone gets a hold of me or you, you or I.
I will. Well, whatever.
Super points. Yeah, you get big points.
go out.
Here it is.
Make an appearance, but I won't say when. It could be late at night.
Here it is. You get 1 point for each unique country contacted with a no agenda person, 1 point for each unique U.S. state, 1 for a knight or dame, 2 points for baron, baronet, 3 for a duke, and 5 points if you reach a creator, which would be you or I guess.
Yeah, it's the two of us. Just the two of us.
I want to thank our associate executive producers and of course, our sole executive producer who moves up since he was Sir Christopher Wolfe was the top donor. We really need a better showing on Sunday. I think we did a lot of work also. This is a bit dismaying sometimes when you see that happen.
I don't know what people are. They were behind on the shows, and I don't know. It's very disappointing.
It is a little bit.
Dvorak.org/NA.
However, we always need you to go out there and try to spread the word, propagate the formula.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Shut up, slave.
Shut up, slave.
All righty.
Okay, back to the line that we're discussing.
Yes.
So the Inspire magazine thing came up in a number of
multiple times
as a big deal. And Bob Baer, who is our favorite ex-CIA guy, because he doesn't seem to always follow the script.
Sometimes he goes a little weird. Yeah, he does.
Goes just, I think he's, where's he? You say he's not even in the, he's living in Colorado or someplace.
Yeah, Telluride.
Oh, he's in Telluride?
Yeah.
Yeah. Funny.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great spot.
Well, it looks beautiful. He's got these great backgrounds now.
Oh, yeah. No, Telluride is gorgeous.
That's the gig I'm looking for.
Well, you can move to Telluride. I think they have pretty good connectivity there.
Yeah, I don't think that the CNN will be calling me. The problem is
at 14,000 feet, a lot of people get winded. A lot of people can't deal with that altitude. Anyway, so we have Pooper coming up. I've got Pooper on Heightened Sense Inspire 1. Let's play that and see where that goes.
Okie dokie.
A security line, and somebody's trying to bring a bomb, maybe rudimentary device along, and could blow people up in the security lines.
Now, you stop right there.
Oh, man. Oh, wow, that's good.
I have been actually... We observed this possibility years ago, I think during the L.A. incident or whatever.
Yeah.
Because the security line, especially in some of these airports, is long.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people in it, and they're jammed in there like cattle. And if you had a rolly bag filled with C4, and you were just rolling along, because they don't check anything until you get to the end.
They do profiling, all kinds of secret checks they don't talk about.
Yeah, that don't work.
Right.
And so you go to the middle, so you're right near the, pretty much where you're in the middle of the whole huge crowd, and then you just set the device off.
Right.
And kill yourself.
Yes.
That has never happened, and it will probably never happen because there is no real terrorism going on in this country.
Wait a minute.
Bull crap.
This is so... It was just like 48 hours of just nonstop this.
Yeah, because of the new Inspire magazine. And so they bring this up. I don't know what to... Start the Pooper 2 clip and see if that takes me where I'm looking to go.
Oh, okay. You didn't want to finish one? We'll do...
Nah.
We'll hit Pooper 2.
Pamela Brown joins us now from Washington. Let's talk about this heightened state of vigilance.
Heightened state of vigilance. I mean, he's making up new security levels as he goes along.
Talking to today, what are they saying about potential threats of attacks in the U.S.? I mean, do they have anything specific?
Nothing specific, I'm being told, but there is this sense, Anderson, among law enforcement officials I've been speaking to, this heightened concern among them for their own safety and for the safety of those they're supposed to be protecting. I think the sense right now is that it's more plausible for someone influenced by current events or some sort of terrorist propaganda, and, for example, an extremist who may be on the cusp, to actually act out. So the sense is that, with each new terror attack, like what we saw in Paris, more people will be emboldened to act. That is compounded with ISIS aggressively using social media to get their message out, these threats from AQAP, Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula. So as a result of all of these issues, Anderson, I'm being told that law enforcement sources are scrutinizing certain cases in the U.S. that perhaps didn't get as much scrutiny before.
You can kill this. Now, this woman, some blonde bimbo, I've never seen her before. She looks like one of the She looks like she's in the community, as it were. But let's listen to Bob Baer. He comes on and discusses both of these issues. And first he talks a little bit about the French thing. And this is Bob Baer, Guys Are Phonies clip.
I think he looks like he was self-recruited. He adopted his ideology off the internet, and he's looking at the Islamic State, whose capital is in Raqqa, Syria, as a success. I mean, they've been able to hold on to land for more than 6 months. They are, in his view, the Caliphate. And when you hear him yelling in the supermarket, he's not particularly well versed in Islam, and he's not using Arabic. So in his very simplified black and white world, swearing allegiance to the Caliphate, to the Islamic State, is a natural step. And I don't think any of these people were particularly well educated in Islam. Nothing they say, no quotes from the Quran and the rest of it. So they are ground soldiers, and they can switch from one movement to the next, just as Peter said.
Jonathan, it is interesting to hear that, and we've heard that from other people as well.
That's interesting to hear that, because they're chameleons. They can switch just like that. Yeah. It's very fantastic.
Now Bob Baer talks about the Inspire magazine and the bomb making.
This is the make a bomb in the kitchen of your mom.
Yeah, make a bomb in your kitchen.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at the Inspire magazine, this recent article, you're probably not going to get.
It's not a recent article.
No, this is the new one that just came out.
Oh.
Get much of a bang on with these bombs. There'd be low-order explosives. You could probably cause a fire on an airplane. You could probably get them through TSA security. But to really learn how to bring down an airplane with household items, you have to practice. And it is possible. What you need is an oxidizer, but you also have to be able to detonate it. You have to know what you're doing. And simply putting this out and telling, inexperienced people to blow up airplanes, I don't see it happening.
Peter, the role of
you
Inspire
can't say
magazine.
that.
No, that's wrong, Bob.
I see it happening.
Bomb them, and bomb them again.
That's not right.
Anyway, I thought it was refreshing, but yeah, Pooper seems to have a lot of these. They're I guess they're not writing the scripts fast enough, and these guys are actually just kind of saying what they think.
Well, remember, Pooper is ex-CIA. I mean, he worked at CIA. That's known. That's known. Yeah, okay. I think I only have one kind of little thing to add to this, Carrie. I know it's Carrie, but it's 15 seconds. And if we don't take care of this, if we don't squash this radical Islam bull crap, and we don't nip that in the bud.
The leaders of ISIL have called on followers to, quote, explode volcanoes of jihad.
Woohoo!
Close quote.
What?
Explode volcanoes
of the day. It's so stupid.
Explode volcanoes of hate.
All right, I got one last one that's kind of about this.
Okay.
We talked about this, I think, 2 shows ago, where the Republicans, to screw up the Obama immigration bill, were going to cut all Homeland Security funding as a leverage against.
Right.
Well,
it's up now, right? There's a whole bill.
Yeah,
there's 163 pages. I'm working through it for Sunday.
Yeah. Well, here's out of the woodwork, of course, comes the biggest stooge and moron in Congress, Peter King.
Oh yes.
Who's now made a big stink about, this is not the time to defund Homeland Security, leveraging, like these guys have been doing, leveraging the French situation, the Charlie Hebdo shootings, as part of why we have to give them probably more money. But here's killing DHS.
So Representative Peter King of New York has raised something else, telling Fox News, whatever we do as far as immigration cannot in any way be allowed to interfere with our counterterrorism methods. The juxtaposition would be terrible. A terrorist slaughter in Paris, and the U.S. cuts back on Homeland Security funding. So of all the bills to attach these amendments to, why do it this way? Why do it through Homeland Security? Because of the attacks, in Paris, and especially if the Senate won't pass it, it's mostly symbolic, and the president will veto it, even if the Senate somehow does pass it. Jim?
Well, I mean, I think ideology has, for a lot of these folks, trumped judgment. I mean, simple as that. I mean,
Yeah. All right.
This is not even a story if you think about it.
No.
If Obama's just going to veto it because
so here's the trickery. Here's the politics of it is of course the Republicans have vowed to remove this whole executive action, which I don't even. I mean, yeah, you could legislate it, I guess. The idea was they were going to hold that back, which DHS is really the ones who are, because they run ICE and CPB. Or CBP, I'm sorry. That's why they're trying to make all these changes. So there's probably going to be a quid pro quo. Well, all right, we'll let you. What was it called? The when you don't. What was the term that DHS will be using? Well, they're using their own judgment. I can't remember the term now. Discretion. They're discretionary. Discretionary rules. So they'll only go after felons, not families. They'll probably leave that in so that they can add another, $50-100 billion to the budget for DHS, which is exactly what we don't want. Exactly what we don't.
It's a foregone conclusion. They just get more and more money.
Oh, it's so bad. It's really, really bad. By the way, the president also signed H.R. 26 into law, which got very little play. H.R. 26 is the reauthorization of the sometimes known as TRS, I think, the Terrorism Risk Insurance Program. And this is the Reauthorization Act of 2015. This was initially put into place by President Bush in 2002, and it is to the government is now on the hook, or continues to be on the hook until 2020 now. If there is a terrorist attack, insurance companies no longer cover terrorism. And this was a big problem after 9/11, 2001. People they couldn't pull the scam like the Twin Towers guy who got, what was it? He doubled down on the insurance.
Oh, yeah, the guy who rocked it was starts with an S, can't remember his name. The guy got away with
that guy. The guy who said pull it for Building 7. I'm sorry.
Pull it.
We didn't really hear that, did we? Silverstein. I think Silverstein Partners, whatever. So the government, up until per terrorist event, the government will back, it's just kind of reinsurance, actually, $100 billion for each terrorist attack, and additional monies paid out to people.
From the taxpayers.
Yeah, it's only $100 billion. It's not all that much.
Insurance is supposed to pay. That's what insurance is for. It's not so they can be backed up by the taxpayers.
But insurance, they don't insure terrorism anymore. So that's why now the government is doing it.
They shouldn't. If they don't insure terrorism, then you're out of luck. I'm sure somebody would come along and insure it.
No. Because the government steps in. Look,
once the government steps in, then that's the end of anybody competing.
And insurance companies, who are just banks, it's money guys. They helped the president get reelected. That's how it works. Everyone knows this.
Yes, we're the number one, and the medical insurance people.
It's the same. Let's go back to the new cyber laws, because a lot of this happened at the same time. I'm going to pick up where we left off with Cameron. Talking about it being impossible for him to even think of citizens communicating securely and privately amongst themselves because, you could be a terrorist. And we can't have that
happen unless the Home Secretary personally signs a warrant. We have a better system for safeguarding this very intrusive power than probably any other country I can think of. But the question remains, are we going to allow a means of communication where it simply isn't possible to do that? And my answer to that question is no, we must not.
Never.
The first duty of any government is to keep our country and our people safe. Mm-hmm. The attacks in Paris once again demonstrated the scale of the terrorist threat that we face and the need to have robust powers through our intelligence and security agencies and policing in order to keep our people safe.
And before we carry on with the last 40 seconds, everybody knew. They knew about these guys. They tracked them. They followed them. They had them on no-fly lists. They were since 2005, and they had all the information they needed. and yet they failed somehow miraculously. So something isn't amiss with the intelligence.
And the powers that I believe we need, whether on communications data or on the content of communications, I'm very comfortable that those are absolutely right for a modern liberal democracy.
That is quote of the day. The powers we want, i.e. to eavesdrop on you, citizen, is necessary and absolutely right for a modern liberal democracy.
But what I've done is, as you know, we legislated very recently on communications data.
Here it comes. Now, here's his pitch. Elect me, I'll keep you safe.
But we said this legislation would fall away automatically in 2016. There's a very good reason for that, because I think the next government, and I hope it's a government that I lead, the next government will have to legislate again in 2016. And what I can say is if I'm Prime Minister, I will make sure it is a comprehensive piece of legislation that makes sure we do not allow terrorists safe space to communicate with each other. That is the key principle. Do we allow safe spaces for them to talk to each other? I say, no, we don't, and we should legislate accordingly. And if I'm leading the government, that is what you'll get.
Very nice. Very, very nice. Very
Sounds sensible to me.
So we cannot have safe spaces for terrorism, which means that we cannot have encryption. Of course, this will never work. However, people are now so conditioned to believe that the only way to utilize this global network known as the internet is through an iPhone, through an app, through Facebook or Twitter or Gmail. There is no other way, because the people have really been programmed to believe that this is the internet. There is no other way to access it. Whereas, of course, we can get around all of these restrictions, but it may become outlawed to use encryption.
They've been trying to do this for at least 20 years or more.
And
the FBI has been trying to do it, and they've made, what's his name, the PGP guy, they made his life miserable.
Zimmerman,
his life was made miserable by law enforcement, even though there was nothing illegal about what he was up to with PGP.
But
they harassed him.
This will be the conversation. This will continue.
And I think, by the way, something similar happened to the True Drive or True Crypt or whatever the last iteration was. The Drive Crypt. Those guys.
True Crypt, yeah.
And then they just pulled the product. You can't even get it. You can't download it anymore. It still works.
Well, there's forks. Yeah, there's forks that you can get. But
yeah, I guess there is. I haven't seen them.
So this, of course, is a typical, a global push. I was looking at at all of the news around the EU, and we have the Dutch. The Dutch already are the #1 country in phone taps in the world. It's a very small country. Yes, I know. And now the Koen Geens, he's the Justice Minister of Justice. He says, well, we want to, expand this a little bit more because, we saw what happened in France.
What's their expand? They're already the #1.
Pretty much just...
They just want to outrun it.
You just pick up a phone and that's it. But he also, they want to have WhatsApp be unencrypted and all of these things. All of these little things have to happen.
You have to do this, and I hate to harp on it, but to run a blackmailing operation,
you need really to be able to, you have to have access.
Or to just tap into someone like, let's say, John Doerr and listen in on his calls. You can do some pretty smart investing.
Yes. Here is Bill Richardson. Bill Richardson.
Oh, yeah. Richardson's trying to get in on the act. I saw him, too. Yeah. He's been floating around. He's been cropping up. He's got nothing else to do. And he wants to get in on this cyber bull crap.
Now tell us, who was Bill Richardson again?
He was the former, wasn't he the governor of New Mexico? Or
Yes.
Some other things.
Yeah. He's, you're right. He's a go-to guy for this. He's all in.
This is serious, even though the hacking didn't go into national security, didn't go into...
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, he's talking about the president being on C-SPAN and speaking to the nation, and CENTCOM... Their Twitter was cyber vandalized.
About this. Play this.
Yeah, set it up. What do you got here? Hold on a second.
Well, I got a couple of things. One is, first of all, let's call a spade a spade. This was not a hack of any sort. Somebody got a hold of a password. and then defaced and vandalized the Twitter feed.
Yes. Cyber vandalism is what we call it.
On CENTCOM. But if you listen to the way it's presented to the public, and again, I want to...
It's a hack.
I want to go back to Glenn Beck.
Oh, no. Okay.
And I want to play... Now, this was on his radio show, so this went out to a huge audience. And this is the kind of bullcrap the public is being fed by these guys, and it's just deplorable.
Yesterday, I don't know if you saw this, the Pentagon was hacked into. Central Command.
The Pentagon was hacked into.
The Pentagon was hacked into is what he said.
By the way, extra points for not only watching The Blaze, but also listening to Beck's radio show. Do you hate yourself? Do you not like your life?
I'm in a funk.
This is clearly we need more donations so John can stop doing this. This is very bad.
Was hacked into by what? ISIS what? ISIS what?
What?
Please remember what they're called. Please, for the love of God, remember what they're called. This is so amazing. He stands up and he's talking about cybersecurity and how we're beefing up our cybersecurity so nobody can get into our defenses. They hack into CENTCOM to say, by the way, we've got control of CENTCOM now, of your social media at CENTCOM.
Whoa, we have control of CENTCOM.
Who was it? ISIS Caliphate.
Oh, cyber caliphate.
The Caliphate. Hacked in.
Yeah.
That's the name. That's their Twitter handle.
Twitter handle.
Caliphate.
Woo! Hey!
ISIS.
We will follow them to the gates of hell.
ISIS.
I feel good.
Yeah, this was beautiful. But it's a little over the top. I mean, we really didn't need to have this to accentuate whatever the president is trying to do. I don't think we needed that. But okay, they liked it. And here's I have a couple of clips of what Obama was saying, but let's go back to Bill Richardson, who, of course, is very concerned about this hack. Oh, man.
Security breaches, classified information. I mean, the fact that it's happening so extensively and vastly means that we have to get a cybersecurity policy in place. We need to get our allies dramatically involved. We need to find ways to, get some of the Arab states, the Muslim states to cooperate too, because this is getting out of control.
Mm-hmm. Are you surprised that there hasn't been
out of control
a larger breach, or do you look at Edward Snowden and say that is the breach of all breaches, and so hacking a Twitter account is nothing?
Leading the witness.
No, I'm worried that this is more extensive. I think we have to find a way to balance this technology with our security needs. No, I don't totally agree with Joe, but I think he's on a good side. I mean, what we have to prevent is the cyber breaching of classified information, of national security information relating to our nuclear weapons, our national security posture.
What's it doing online?
He's just making it up. There was no security information stolen about nuclear weapons. He's just making it up. Making it up.
I think hacked. It's just the password. It's just
phishing.
Privacy and our values are key. We have to maintain.
Where do you?
Yeah, my value is key.
Land between private and public.
This guy doesn't know anything,
but he's good.
To the issue that Eamon was talking about, if you're a big bank or any type of big
a-hole
private institution, when you go to the FBI, there's a big question, and then what the FBI is going to do with that information.
Yes.
How should that work?
I think what has to happen is there has to be an accord that involves liability
sharing
protection. I think the private sector needs to be players in this. They can't just turn everything over without some kind of protection.
Liability protection. And, of course, we have the document leaked, so coincidental, submitted by Mr. Ruppersberger, another fine friend of ours, Dutch Ruppersberger. This does not even have a number yet, this bill. And this is to provide for the sharing of certain cyber threat intelligence and cyber threat information between the intelligence community and cybersecurity entities and for other purposes. The short title may be Cyber Intelligence Sharing and Protection Act. This is CISPA 2015.
Yeah.
This is back. It's back. And here it is. I've marked it all up. You can check it in the show notes. But the most important things are The federal government just coordinated activities. To start off, federal government shall conduct cybersecurity activities to provide shared situational awareness that enables integrated operational actions to protect, prevent, mitigate, respond to, and recover from cyber incidents. And the idea is there will be a new entity that will be created. The president shall designate an entity within the Department of Justice, so Justice will be running this, and the civilian federal entity to receive cyber threat information. So this will be a new system, a new entity, a sharing center, and for procedures, the Act establishes the following procedures: ensure that cyber threat information shared with department or agencies of the federal government in accordance with such Section 1104B is also shared with the appropriate departments and agencies. So you may not just, you can't just go to the FBI, you have to go to this center, which will be something new and will suck, of course.
Yeah, just some other piece of crap that's sucking the taxpayers dry.
It will totally suck. And
now,
the number one, let me just finish it. The only important thing here in this document is the liability. That is what this jabroni just said, is that companies who cooperate, I'm just scrolling down to get the actual wordage, will not be held liable when they share information with these cyber threat information sharing centers.
Held liable for what? This is not.
So you cannot sue them for giving your information to the government.
This is not going to work as a carrot for the dumb donkey. They think that the corporations are, that's what, I don't know what the government's got in their brain here, but they actually think that that's what that people are wringing their hands about liability for turning over whatever corporate information they have that hasn't already been stolen over to the government, and then getting sued by their users because they maybe had in place some privacy thing in place, and now the government's got all this information, and you're going to sue them and giving them this free from liability by law. This is like the vaccination guys, which that does make sense. This makes no sense because that's not the problem. The problem is losing market share because you're a stooge for the government. You cannot sell American products overseas, and we try to export as much as we can, if everybody overseas just thinks you're a conduit for the CIA or for the FBI. So I'm buying this product, I'm in Germany, and I'm buying this system, let's say a software system, and they say, oh, don't worry about it. And then you see this liability thing. All it does is say, wait a minute, you could be just feeding this information to your own government for some nefarious purpose. I'm not buying your product. I am not buying your product. And that's what's going on. And there's no law you can pass to change that if you're going to make the American corporate structure sell out to the government. So they're just part of the U.S. government. I'm not going to trust any of these companies if I'm anywhere overseas.
Wow, you really hold the American citizen in high regard. You don't think that the American citizenry, I understand what you're saying about the companies.
I don't think it has anything to do with the American citizens.
Because they won't care. They will not care.
They don't care.
And why would Europeans not think this is a good idea too? There's our leader saying it. We cannot have this because we'll die.
It's already shown that, the anti-Google backlash, Microsoft, I mean, these companies, that's what they bitch about. We're losing overseas.
And there you have it. And there you have the ultimate. There it is. There's the showdown. What happens and who runs what? And I assert that there may be some information about Tom Collins, Tim Cook. There may be some photos.
Oh, yeah. Blackmail.
Yes. I think you're going to see companies all in.
By being blackmailed.
Yes. Oh, yeah, not of their own free will. By the way, this
is really just hurting American business and American industry. This is all bad.
This entire situation that we find ourselves in has been prophesized in great detail by the researcher who created Industrial Society and its Future. The Theodore Kaczynski. I urge you to read this.
So I'm looking at the Kaczynski things that were printed up by one of our knights.
Yeah.
And he printed the thing into a little booklet.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And so I'm looking at this and I'm thinking to myself, how valuable would this little booklet be if I could get Kaczynski to autograph it?
Yeah.
That's the first thing I'm thinking.
Right.
Because I discovered some time ago that there's an autograph, because I don't follow the autograph market. I don't collect autographs necessarily. I had some when I was a kid. But I do recall going to an event that was at one of these, it was a book fair of some sort, and they had an autograph section, and there was a Charlie Manson autograph. And what do you think the Charlie Manson autograph was selling for?
How long ago was this?
This was about 10 years ago.
I don't know, $150?
10 grand.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Holy crap.
So wow. I think Kaczynski signing one of these little booklets, or a couple of them.
It's kind of sad because Kaczynski he's not allowed to use computers in jail, so he doesn't even really know what's happening. But if he saw what was really going on.
Yeah, it would have been,
he foresaw it.
Max.
And of course, the only way to really stop all this is, one day I'm just going to snap. I'll lead my army of dudes named Ben for a full takedown of cyberspace. That is what will happen ultimately. In the meantime, I just pretend to be a podcaster.
Mm-hmm. I'll wait for that.
Lots of mention of Europol, by the way, in these documents.
Wait a minute. I got a clip that I want to still stick to that last topic. I want to play, and the reason I want this clip play because I don't remember what it's about, but play CBS Cyber.
Okay.
New year.
We work the dark net.
New team.
It takes a hacker to catch it.
I know what it is.
New CSI.
Let's move.
CSI Cyber premieres CBS March 4th.
Yeah, well, we had the inside track on that, so we knew that was going to happen. Again.
No, you had the inside track on it and didn't say anything, and then I deduced it.
Right. And then I had to say, what? But CSI Cyber, there it is. Of course, it's all part of the system.
But, right, and this is going to be the biggest, this is going to be worse than Scorpion.
Yes. Well, people love this stuff. All right, here's the president. Then he had actually two speeches. He did one at the FTA, the Federal Trade Administration, and one at some special department within Department of Homeland Security, where apparently they're on the front lines of blah, blah, blah. And let me see. I'll start with. It was very strange about how we need to be protected, and this is part of what is it? It's the Consumer Privacy Bill of Rights or something, and we're going to get all these great benefits with this legislation that he is going to propose for Congress. But of course, if Congress doesn't pass it, he'll sign it, create an executive order. Fine. Let's find out what we're going to get.
I'm pleased that more banks, credit card issuers, and lenders are stepping up and equipping Americans with another weapon against identity theft.
A weapon.
And that's access to their credit scores free of charge.
This is the weapon. Make the people more...
How is that a weapon of anything?
Oh, well...
This includes J.P. Morgan Chase, Bank of America.
These are weaponizers.
USAA.
He'll tell you how.
State Employees Credit Union, Ally Financial. Some of them are here today. I want to thank them for their participation.
Courage.
This is a promotion for these people.
Yes.
This means that a majority of American adults will have free access to their credit score, which is like an early warning system telling you that you've been hit by fraud so you can deal with it fast.
What?
No,
not at all. This is just
score's got nothing to do with it. It doesn't even show up the bad stuff for maybe months.
No, but this is just making people more dependent upon this rating of your life and your conduct
system. I don't even know where that thing came into play, but I think it ruins everybody.
It is scandalous. This is what he is doing here. Now let's go to the Consumer Privacy Bill of Rights, which I find abhorrent that any legislator or executive would even say that we need a separate Bill of Rights for our privacy. Are you kidding me? We don't need any. We have the Bill of Rights. Our privacy is protected constitutionally. No. We need a separate little sub tree here so we can allow the government to do certain things.
We're going to be introducing new legislation a consumer privacy bill of rights. Working with many of you from the private sector and advocacy groups, we've identified some basic principles to both protect personal privacy and ensure that industry can keep innovating.
Principles?
Yeah. To ensure.
What?
Yeah.
We've identified principles?
Yeah, let's listen to it again.
Advocacy groups, we've identified some basic principles to both protect personal privacy and ensure that industry can keep innovating.
Wow.
How does a principle protect anything?
Doesn't. It's a scam.
It's a principle.
It's horrible. This is so, truly, the only word is abhorrent.
For example, we believe that consumers have the right to decide what personal data companies collect.
This, I think, is part of the hello, Silicon Valley, we're going to mess with you if you don't do what we say. I think that's what this is.
From them.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And how companies use that data, that information. The right to know that your personal information collected for one purpose can't then be misused by a company for a different purpose.
Like the IRS does.
The right to have your information stored securely by companies that are accountable for its use. We believe that there ought to be some basic baseline protections across industries.
That is something that industries have to do themselves. The government has no business.
Google.
Yeah, right.
Hello, Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
Introducing this legislation by the end of next month. And I hope Congress joins us to make the Consumer Privacy Bill of Rights the law of the land.
The Consumer Privacy Bill of Rights. Because, of course, on the internet, you're nothing but a consumer. Now, this was a WTF moment when I cut it down to what I think is the most important part about privacy for students, which the president readily admits that student data is being used for all kinds of crazy things. I guess that's part of the Common Core, the state standards. And we need yet another act or bill of rights for students.
Now, the good news is we've got new educational technologies that are transforming how our children learn.
Oh,
what?
Transforming how our children learn.
New educational technology. New.
Yeah. Well,
the operative word new. What's new?
New is
what's new?
Tablets.
What?
Tablets. Common Core.
Yeah, that'll do it.
We've got innovative websites and apps and tablets, digital textbooks and tutors.
I told you. Your questions are right on time. We got innovative websites. Yeah, like there's the 500 billion website. And we got apps and tablets and Vine and Snapchats.
We've got innovative websites and apps and tablets, digital textbooks and tutors. Students are getting lessons tailored to their unique learning needs. We want to encourage that information, and it also facilitates teachers and parents tracking student progress.
I love that. Track your kid. How's my kid doing today? I don't need to actually talk to my kid. I'll just pull up the dashboard. Kid dashboard.
And grades in real time. And all the
grades in real time. Whoa, hold the phone, Martha.
This is part of
that work.
I don't know, but it's grades in real time. You can track the graph. Hey, John, my kid is hockey sticking as we speak.
Woo. And grades in real time. And all this is part of what our Connect Ed initiative is about, connecting 99% of American students to high-speed internet so that we're empowering students, teachers, and parents and giving them access to worlds they may never have had access to before.
Worlds they never had access to seek out new civilizations, new worlds, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
But we've already seen some instances where some companies...
He sounds drunk, John. He's slurring his words. You hear that? I mean, I've seen some instances.
Never had access to before.
Probably coming down.
But we've already seen some instances where some companies use educational technologies to collect student data for commercial purposes.
Wahoo!
Like targeted advertising.
Ooh.
And parents have a legitimate concern about those kinds of practices. So today we're proposing the Student Digital Privacy Act.
There it is. Okay, again, something we don't really need because the Constitution is readily available for that. We have privacy, but it's not about protecting you. It is about allowing the government and commercial industry, who are now in complete collusion, soon to be codified in law.
Well, you know, one of the things I've done, just to change, not to change the subject, but to just talk about this tracking and this, I've installed Ad Nauseam.
This is a browser plugin?
Yeah, it's a browser plugin. It works with ad block, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It works with one of the other systems you have to have. Mm-hmm. So it blocks all the ads, but in the background, it clicks on all the ads.
Oh.
It will click on everything.
To confuse the system.
Yes, and it inundates the system with bad information because you click on everything.
Right.
In the background. You're not really clicking on anything. Now, it does cause occasionally, because there's some of these websites that have got so much going on because they're just loaded with ads and crap that it will sometimes stall because it's clicking. Geez, I can't have to click too much. But for the most part, it doesn't really change your experience, except you get no ads. And it's clicking on all the ads that it's trying to feed you, and it completely befuddles so you don't get these. I just bought this. I'm here, buy it again, and all these kinds of crap that you get on these.
Well, you're actually doing destructive work. You're messing up the algorithms and really trying to screw with them.
Yes, and a lot of people. Anyway, people should go out and look it up. It's called Ad Nauseam.
I'm all for that.
Yeah, I'm all for
that. So then the president went. That was the day before. That was at the FTA. Now he's over to the to DHS, and this is about the cyber legislation that, of course, we need now. It's very obvious. Then we know now that it's CISPA 2015. Ruppersberger has introduced it, and the president has a little spiel about this with some slogans.
Today, I'm focusing on how we can better protect American consumers from identity theft and ensure our privacy, including for our children at school.
God.
And then tomorrow at the Department of Homeland
I'm sorry, this is still FTA. My mistake.
Security, I'll focus on how we can work with the private sector to better defend ourselves against cyber attacks. And finally, on Wednesday in Iowa, I'll talk about how we can give families and communities faster, cheaper access to broadband so they can succeed in the digital economy.
Also very interesting. We need to talk about that in a minute.
But I want to start here at the FTC. Because every day
I'm sorry, I messed it up. Wrong way around.
You take the lead in making sure that Americans, their hard-earned money, and their privacy are protected, especially when they go online. And these days, that's pretty much for everything. Managing our bank accounts, paying our bills,
porn,
handling everything from medical records to movie tickets,
casual encounters,
controlling our homes, smart houses,
Tinder,
from smartphones,
Grindr.
Secret Service does not let me do that, but I know other people do. And with these benefits come risks.
Aha.
Major companies get hacked. America's personal information, including financial information, gets stolen. And the problem is growing, and it costs us billions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
In one survey, 9 out of 10 Americans say they feel like they've lost control of their personal information.
Mm-hmm.
In recent breaches, more than 100 million Americans have had their personal data compromised, like credit card information. When these cyber criminals start racking up charges on your card, it can destroy your credit rating. It can turn your life upside down.
Mm-hmm.
It may take you months to get your finances back in order.
It's just so horrible.
So this is a direct threat to the economic security of American families.
Here it comes.
We've got to stop it. If we're going to be connected, then we need to be protected.
Hey! There you go. That's the slogan. If we're going to be connected, we need to be protected.
If the gloves did not fit, you must have quit.
It's pretty much the same level of prose. And so while this is taking place, then we have this so-called hack. So obvious. So obvious.
Oh, yeah, no, it's just, it's ludicrous.
And
of course, then again, you have people, pushing it like Glenn Beck, telling everyone that the Pentagon was hacked somehow. I mean, this is irresponsible.
And people believe that they don't know any better.
It's irresponsible to say the Pentagon was hacked when somebody found someone's password for CENTCOM, which is probably, like I said someplace in a column I wrote for PC Magazine, ABC123.
Yeah, I saw you.
Hey, look at what we got.
Yeah. So then the president did something else, which I think is a direct swipe at Google. And I believe all of what he's doing here is all about forcing his hand onto Silicon Valley. Whether they have pictures and I'm sure Eric Schmidt, they got tons of stuff on him. That's easy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Google is pretty easy, and they got stuff on the Russian guy and all that, Sergey, whatever. But the president came out with this pitch for broadband, and I don't know if you saw this video. And my goodness, ISIS, ISIL, Daesh, whatever you want to call them, their videos are 1,000,000 times better than what the president of the United States is doing. Wild sound, he's not mic'd. Of course, they had to monoize it because it's the left channel is louder than the right channel. And he's walking in like, hi, everybody. Yeah, well, I'm here to talk to you about broadband here in the Oval Office. Little opening sound there. Hey, woo. Yeah, go ahead, man.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody. Listen, there's a buzz.
What did somebody say? Hey, is there a bucket in here we can put the mic in? That's really professional.
It's wild sound right on the camera mic, and there's a buzz. You can hear a buzz in it.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
It is. It really is. Put a little, whoo. Here, listen to the buzz. Cue.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
We're in the Oval Office here.
Yes.
And been doing some work on State of the Union. I'm going to be giving the State of the Union next week, but as you may know, I've been going around the country starting to preview some of the things that I think are really going to be important for us to make sure that we are growing this economy and that it works for everybody. And one of the things that I'm going to make an early announcement.
This, by the way, is a head shaker. The things that come out of this president's mouth
about this week is the issue of getting faster broadband.
Getting faster broadband. Okay. Right there, you have no knowledge of what is going on in the world. Faster broadband. Okay, fine.
I want to take a look at something that I've got here on my iPad. This is internet download speeds by city.
And it has a little tablet with with a bar graph on it.
Yeah, I saw this.
Yeah.
I can zoom up if you want so you can see the names there.
Yeah.
So you've got Seoul, South Korea, Hong Kong, Tokyo, Paris. These cities all have really fast access to the internet because they've made the investments in broadband. Now, here's what's interesting. Right next to it, you got Cedar Falls, Iowa. Now, Cedar Falls is...
Now, notice there's no Austin, Texas, which has the fastest broadband in any survey ever done in the United States. We have Google freaking out. We have laying pipe everywhere. We got AT&T trying to lay, up their game. Time Warner swapping out boxes, giving people 500 megabits a second. The market is exploding. The prices are going down. Google's coming in for almost nothing here. It's fantastic from a faster broadband perspective.
Really big,
not mentioned here.
Well, even Verizon in Austin has like almost a gigabit.
Yeah, but so none of this is mentioned. No, we go to some other Iowa.
Now, Cedar Falls isn't a really big place. You only got 40,000 people in Cedar Falls. But the reason they can compete with these other world cities is because citizens got together and made the investment to bring competition in and make sure that internet speeds were just as fast there.
Now, it's a lie. They have community broadband, which is the dream of these nut jobs. Oh, please, let's have the government run it on a local level. That's what they want. This is not really about pure competition, opening it up so that companies can truly compete. Iowa, where he went to do his speech, is all about community broadband. The local municipality runs it. Yes. We want the government to run the internet.
Anywhere else. We've got some other cities like Kansas City and Chattanooga, Tennessee. Similar things. Yeah. And that gives them a huge competitive advantage. It means a business can come in and locate there knowing that they can hook into world markets, products, services, anywhere around the globe.
I just want to play one little bit more so you can hear his stupidity.
So I'm going to be going to Cedar Falls to highlight this. The reason is because, unfortunately, we've also got a bunch of U.S. cities that aren't on par, that aren't moving as fast when it comes to broadband. And you know what it feels like when you don't have a good internet connection, right? Everything's buffering. You're trying to download a video. You got that little circle thing. It goes around and around. It's really aggravating.
There you go. That is the American right there. That's all we do. Sit at home and I'm aggravated. I can't get that video. It's buffering. Circle thing going round and round. Screw you. This is all about just more government-regulated internet. Very disappointing that he's promoting a city that has municipal broadband, not at all open for competition. And I believe it truly is. That's part of the Silicon Valley FU.
Well, there could be that element. But most of the broadband providers aren't really Silicon Valley companies.
No, but
Google.
Google. I think it's really about, well, but also, who's going to legislate? We got all kinds of stuff going on there.
Well, I'm sure none of it's good at the end of the day. And I use the word at the end of the day.
I got 2 emails about the dirt boxes.
Oh, okay.
You want to hear that for a sec?
Yes, I do.
It was interesting because the first email, who was the original producer who sent this to me, he said, here's stuff you can talk about on the air. Here's stuff you can't talk about on the air. And then I got another email from a different producer who pretty much told me the second part that the first guy said I couldn't talk about. So I'm going to talk about it because there you go.
You might as well, because you got it from 2 sources and one of them said it was okay.
Okay, so first one, producer 1, there are a couple different platforms that involve the exploitation of GSM and CDMA networks. What we're talking about here is the DRT, the dirt boxes that are used by Homeland Security, I believe, but maybe FBI, flying over cities and scooping up information under the auspices of, if you're out in the public eye, then you have no reasonable expectation of privacy.
Yeah, it would, even though they would suck up you being inside your house.
Correct.
I think you should have some expectation of privacy, and you can't tell the difference from the plane that you're broadcasting from your little phone from inside your house or on the street.
So we got some names.
So how does that work?
Well, I'm going to give you some names and information about these systems. Kingfish is one, Stingray is another, and then there's the standard DRT, which is quite large, think like a large suitcase. Each of these devices can be used in a tactical situation. They can be mounted on a vehicle, a UAV, a drone, helicopter. There is no way to differentiate between people in their house, i.e. not in public places, and just anywhere a signal can be received from a cell tower that is being scooped up. Full take collection, both sides of conversation, phone numbers, IMSIs, IMEIs, text messages. And I got some other code names, so here we go. This is from producer number 2. My last couple of years in the military, there was a shift in SIGINT, signals intelligence, with the NSA pushing systems that they had previously refused to share down to the lowest level. When I deployed to Afghanistan in 2004, we had PRD-13s. My team was a dismounted team, so ours was a man-packable, but most were installed in a Humvee, codenamed the Prophet. Prophets now have dirts in them. PRD-13s were for radio intercept and direction finding. The NSA was running dirts over there. I saw one in operation while at a border base. They would also lose one every once in a while because they set them up for remote operation and thought a fake rock cover would fool the locals. Yeah, typical NSA. Hey, put that rock on it. No one will know. Eventually, we were
for the antenna sticking up.
Eventually, we were given a dirt in the Korangal in 2005, and it reinforced my issues with it. It is an amazing system, but in Afghanistan, they mainly used FM ICOM, the radio, for communications, and dirt would pick up FM, but did it poorly. The best way, of course, to listen to an ICOM is to have an ICOM. The first NSA guy cell and sat phone intel he got when we shared our FM intercept, his replacement was as friendly because he couldn't believe our intel since we didn't get it on his dirt. The dirt also picked up and recorded too much to effectively review and act on in a timely manner with just one interpreter. The dirt worked much better in Iraq. From what my former soldiers told me, they had a strong cell network. The Stingray came in after I left, but I hear it helped reduce time that took to track an individual down from 1 hour or 2 to just 15 minutes. 15 minutes. I agree with John. The National Intercept Program is only good for the fact research or extortion. Like the dirt in Afghanistan, you collect so much, you can't go through it. It's useless for direct, immediate actions. The Prophet.
Good for blackmail.
That's right. That's right. The Prophet. Just love that it's called the Prophet.
Yeah, it's actually a pun.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's the Prophet as in the Prophet Muhammad.
Of course.
And profit as in let's make some money off some
let's make some profit
that we steal.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It really is. No shame anywhere.
No, it's almost like a bunch of rats, just taking advantage of the situation.
Yeah, Yeah, well, I would say yes. But look, it's so perfect. You just target journalists, you target politicians, the rest goes automatically. And when have just normal citizens been targeted? No. Everywhere. It's politicians and it's journalists. When is the last just regular Joe who was threatened to be killed?
Yeah, there's not. What's the point?
Yeah. They don't make laws. They don't have TV shows.
All right. Well, before we go to my clip, my prescient clip about what's special about the No Agenda show.
Ah, yes.
I do have a little Ask Adam.
Okay. Is this just one clip? I can't screw it up. This is.
It's just one clip. You can't screw it up.
Okay.
Hold on. I get to do my little.
Ask Adam. Ask Adam.
Yeah. I get to do my jingle. I get to do my jingle. Okay.
All right. Play it.
Oh. All right.
Are loving this.
Wait. Stop. Let me set it.
All right. Set it up.
This is that stupid show in the morning. That's Kathy. It's not Kathy Lee. It's Kelly or
Kelly
something.
Ripa. Kelly Ripa.
Yeah, with Michael Strahan, the big football player with a lisp.
Yeah.
Who was a sidekick and funny guy. And here they are doing a segment on chocolate.
And there will be a question for me after this.
Yes.
Okay.
Are loving this new version of chocolate. It's stone ground in texture. It's not as much sugar.
Is it like dirt?
They say that it has the consistency of dirt.
Because I'm a chocolate connoisseur, I tell you.
Okay, so we have some of this. We have some of this dark stone ground chocolate. We're just going to do a sample in front of you guys because we are rude. There we go. It's scientific purposes only. I like it.
Oh, yeah, I really like that one.
All right. All right. We had chocolate and we applauded loudly.
That's the question for you. What were they applauding about?
That they ate chocolate?
Apparently.
Because the producer held up his script and banged it and making the clap sign for everybody? Maybe?
Well, that's probably what happened, but it just is idiotic. Here, let's eat a piece of chocolate. Oh, yeah, chew. Wow, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. Woo!
And you wonder why no one is concerned about fooling the public into all this cyber legislation crap, no encryption, be afraid, slave, shut up, cower in the corner.
Now, on the second clip, which is the pre-clip to the donation segment, I pulled this off of NHK, and I'm actually watching it with Eric, and it's like, okay, there's a news item we will never hear in the United States for the obvious reason. It's about McDonald's. For the obvious reason that it sheds a bad light on the company. And you can't do that. I don't know if you've noticed this, but on most broadcast networks over the last 6 to 10 months, there has been more McDonald's commercials. They are dropping billions, and so no one's going to report something like this.
Officials at McDonald's Japan are taking steps they hope will clean up the company's outlets and reputation. They plan to check how sanitation is managed at all of their restaurants nationwide. This follows a series of scandals involving foreign objects found in McDonald's food. The officials say an external food safety company will check the more than 3,000 outlets. The sanitary workers will inspect how cooking utensils and equipment are kept. They'll also check how able McDonald's workers are in detecting objects that don't belong in food. Earlier this month, a customer found a piece of vinyl in a chicken nugget at a restaurant in northern Japan. McDonald's officials say the possibility the object came from its plant or outlet is slim. But there have been other cases of foreign objects being mixed into food during preparation. And last month, a piece of plastic was discovered in a dessert at another outlet. The object was part of a machine at the restaurant. Workers lost another piece of vinyl a customer found in a nugget. The fast food giant also plans to review its response to customers.
Wow. Yeah.
You never hear this story.
Yeah, you'd think they were shilling for Burger King, so they didn't mention it.
Well, it might have been, but all I know is that you get a lot of vinyl in your food in Japan, apparently.
Yeah, you will never hear the story in America.
You cannot hear this. This is the reason I want to emphasize, even though we have a very poor showing today, this is the reason you listen to this show. Because we don't have advertisers. We can't afford to have advertisers. If we had advertisers, McDonald's might be one of them. And would be not a smart idea to talk about their...
No, forget about that. The whole advertising community would be like, no, we can't advertise on that show with those guys. They talk bad about you.
Right. We wouldn't get any advertisers. This is probably the... But if you set it up properly, you start a new show and you can get advertisers. But this show is designed not to be screwed with by these other people. These people, oh, you can't talk about this, you can't talk about that. No. We don't have that problem because you, the listener, the producer, are the ones that keep the show going.
Yeah.
And with that.
And we'd like to feel that you really want us to keep it going, quite honestly.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh, yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
So we have a few people that did help us, and we want to thank every one of them profusely, starting with Christine Zachman in Lost Wages, Nevada, 12345. I needs a birthday shout-out. We've got that. Some job karma. Put that at the end. Yep. Zach Zachman, who turns 24 on the 16th. Thanks for the best podcast in the universe. Thank you. Derek Kimberly, another birthday call-out coming up from Northam, Western Australia, $77. Eric Hallbritter in South Ogden, Utah, $75. He says, because of you two, the number of people I can talk to diminishes by the year. Too many people drinking the wrong Kool-Aid. Then he thanks us. I guess he doesn't like talking to his friends. Diana Carruthers in Tenino, Washington, $69.69. David Hazan in Brooklyn, New York, $68.70. Gavin Thomas in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, $66.66. We have a birthday in there. In that,
I would say Cape Girardeau.
I don't think anyone would pronounce it that way in Missouri. It would be Girardeau or
Girardio.
I don't think it's that bad either.
Okay, that's just me.
Send us a pronunciation gazetteer. Aaron Heath in St. Agnes, Australia, 63. Eric Young, 55, double nickels on the dime. He says, I was watching in Salt Lake City. I was watching football with friends when I saw the ad for CSI Cyber.
Yeah.
And broke down laughing. My friends were confused.
Why are you laughing? Why do you laugh about this obvious hit show?
It's an important show. Kevin Dills and Charlotte.
Wait, did they say that? Did they say it's an important show? No, you're making that up.
No, it doesn't say that, but I'm guessing that's what you'd be criticized for, mocking an important show.
It's an important show, man.
Kevin Dills in Charlotte, North Carolina, double nickels on the dime. His explanation, he says, he just talks about time going faster.
Oh, yeah, this was my question. No, it's important to stop for a second. This is my question, why it seems like time is moving along faster the older we get, and the universal response pretty much is...
Yeah, I don't buy this response.
I find it hard to believe, too. The idea is because each year is going to be a larger percentage of the rest of your life.
A lesser percentage.
A lesser percentage of the rest of your life, that therefore it feels like it's going faster. I don't know. No. I don't understand why. How does that make any sense?
Makes no sense. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing math all the time. Oh, well, I've only have, this is interesting. This is less of a percentage than when I was a little baby. Eric Peterson in Menasha. And this is, by the way, all theory. There's no documentation for this thesis.
No, I was hoping that you might have one.
There is none.
Oh, okay.
Kevin Peterson, 5115 from Menasha, Wisconsin. We got another birthday. A lot of birthdays today, which is good.
For sure.
Sir Kevin Payne in Richmond, Virginia, 5069. Travis Fricker, 5033 from Wilmington, Delaware. And, okay, now the rest of these are just 50s. As we drop to the 50s right away. Stanley Hong in Radwick, New South Wales. Chris Slewinski. Isn't that Sir Chris?
It's Sir Chris. For sure it is. Yeah.
In Alberta, Canada. Patrick Thomas in Petworth, West Sussex, UK. Patricia Worthington. Dame Patricia Worthington, if I'm not mistaken. Miami, Florida. Sir Mike Westerfield, $50. Parts unknown. Brandon Savoy, $50. Paul Groves in Wangaratta, Victoria, Australia. And he is going to be known as Sir Paul the Screw.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, shout out to my profession down under. I always like to keep up with great work and analysis. My daily commute our show makes the daily commute more bearable, and I get even a good laugh from time to time. And he wants by the way, somebody else wanted this. It was Chris, the other Chris. Up at the top, Chris, the guy
Wolf, Sir Christopher Wolf.
Wolf wanted it, and we might as well do this now because Wolf requested. I didn't see it on the note initially. He wanted an OMG. That's amazing with the karma.
Okay, we'll do it all in one go in a minute when we're done.
Good. Jacob Wojciak in North Vancouver, BC. Finally, Eric Mann, parts unknown. John Stragg, parts unknown. Patrick Macomb, he's not really parts unknown, but it's Sir Patrick Macomb. And finally, Christopher Eaton in Shawnee, Kansas, and Mike Mataloni in Chicago, Illinois. I do have a note from Mike that was, I got a note from Mike and from Chris. Chris, he wrote a longhand note to Adam to explain why, I don't know what this says. Is so emboldened in the Sony. Oh, why are you in this? I don't know.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. I'm very informed.
Mike Mataloni did type it out.
What the hell is he saying?
I don't know. I can't read it.
Oh.
My first ever podcast donation. Could you play me something from Dr. Kiki? Yeah. That's what I can get out of that. You can play some at the end.
Yeah.
And then Mike Mataloni sent a note that he typed in carefully. In the morning from Gitmo Nation Corrupt Hot Dog. I thought that was cute in Chicago.
Oh, right.
Where global warming climate change has forced the hand of Rahm's appointed school committee to cancel school because it's too cold. In a city with this much money to buy coats, plus the welfare programs and the NGOs for those who can't buy coats, really cancel school 2 days in a row? Are you kidding?
It's the same here in Austin because today finally we have some sunshine, which will warm it up nicely. That has been completely dark, dank. Like Christina's like, I'm still in Holland. I'm not even in America. And everyone's like, where's the global warming? Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Anyway, we'd like to thank all these folks for helping us. For helping us with show. I don't know what
687.
687. And hope that people can pick up the pace a little bit for 688.
Yeah, and a reminder, we have that Valentine's double producership drive going on right now for the 214, which I'm sure we'll be reminded of again in the following newsletter, which should come out Saturday, I guess. Yeah, we haven't really had to bitch about anything for a while.
Well, I know, but this is a string we've had really weak.
Why is this? Is this? And do you have historical data?
Or maybe they went over. A lot of people overdid it at the end of last year.
Can you look at the big data that you have? I mean,
I could, and I'll do that on Sunday if this continues. Hopefully, it won't.
Okay, a little sequence here as requested by numerous producers.
It was worth it. It was worth it.
Bingo, boom, shakalaka.
Oh my God, that is amazing!
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
All righty. Yes, people, please consider us for the Sunday show. We are doing the work, and there's a lot of work to do. And you see around you, as people are saying, even the donation notes, that this is having an effect, and people are ill. And although you may feel like an outsider when you're around them because you actually know at least a lot more and more of the background and some of the story that we're able to bring to you through simple research.
A lot of people are suckered by this bull crap. I mean, again, that's one of the reasons I put the Glenn Beck clips in, where they just lie to you. This was not a Pentagon hack. Why does he say it is? He knows better. He knows it's not a Pentagon hack unless he's an idiot. Now, both things are possible.
Yeah. There's more possibilities.
But it's not helpful to anybody out there trying to just do their day-to-day and are being told nonsense that makes you fret for no good reason. It's not healthy.
And it makes you ill.
It makes you sick.
Yeah. And by having the real information pretty much ensures you will not be voted off the island when the time comes. And believe me, that time is coming.
Dvorak.org/NA.
And we start off by saying happy anniversary to Sir D.H. Slammer and Dame Bang Bang. 14 years of wedded bliss together on the 21st of January. Derek Kimberly celebrating today. Aaron Peterson and Addie Shirk say happy birthday to Steve Shirk, celebrating today as well on the 15th. And Christine Zachman says happy birthday to her son Zach, turning 24 tomorrow. Gavin Thomas says happy birthday to Quintessa Sells of Tempe, Arizona, turning 28 tomorrow. Happy birthday from all of your friends here at the best podcast in the universe.
It's your birthday, yeah.
And then we say congratulations to Sir Christopher Wolfe, who becomes baronet today, and he can start looking at protectorates for his barony, which will be on the way. And then we do have one knighting, which we're always happy to do. And I'll grab your blade. Thank you, John. Paul Grove, step forward. Come on up to the podium. Very happy to have you here with your final donation. Brings you into the table of the Knights of the Danes, and I hereby am very proud to pronosticate the Sir Paul the Screw, Knight of the Northern Round Table. For you, my friend, hookers and blow, Rent Poison Chardonnay, malted barley and hops. We've got girlfriend experience and good bourbon, Cuban cigars and single malt scotch, opium and warm orange juice, hot pants and booze, geishas and sake, vodka and vanilla, bong hits and bourbon, sparkling cider and escorts, or maybe just some plain old mutton and mead. And go to noagendanation.com/rings. And remember that you need to tweet us the picture when it comes in. I haven't seen any in a while. We've had a few knightings, so they should be coming soon.
Oh, you mean the tweet? Yeah, I know.
Tweet it out.
Yeah, people.
I got a cute note here from Eric, one of our producers. ITM. I frequently listen to the show in my car, and sometimes my 7-year-old boy is with me. A few weeks ago, you guys were on, and he says, "So it's only boys on the show?" I said yes, and I explained about the two of you. A little while later, he points out that a woman was talking, some clip we were playing apparently, and asks why there are women on the show. I just told him that some women are in the news, and then these boys play clips of these girls. I didn't think much about it. Then on New Year's Eve, he said something about women having an agenda. 7-year-old kid. I say, well, yes, they generally have agendas, but why would you say such a thing? Who do you think has an agenda? He says, Mom has an agenda. I ask what her agenda is, and he points to his crotch. Then I figure it out. He has associated the word agenda with vagina. He thinks you have no women on the show because they have agendas.
Oh, that's very funny. The logic of a 7-year-old.
I think it's cute.
Yeah, it's very cute. Yeah. Oh, you got to understand the term vagina is another issue, but who knows?
Oh, there you go.
So I'm predicting a war.
Oh, is this Red Book? You better put it in.
Red Book. I'll tell you what the war is about. Play the clip, Measles and Disneyland.
Okay.
We don't hear much about it because outbreaks are few and far between, but measles has been slowly making a big comeback. 2014 was the worst year since 2000 for measles nationwide, tripled the number of cases over the year before. And it appears a new outbreak may have started as a destination known better to millions as the happiest place on earth. We get our report tonight from our chief medical editor, Dr. Nancy Snyderman.
Take a person infected with measles, combined with thousands of Disneyland tourists, and you have the recipe for the worst measles outbreak in California in 15 years. Doctors are scrambling to get ahead of this.
Disneyland is the perfect situation because lots of people, lots of children.
It's a serious yet preventable disease that has now spread beyond California, with reports of 26 ill people in Utah, Colorado, and Washington state.
Okay. War.
This is not a acceptable behavior to do this story this way. The networks have all agreed not to attack each other, and this is a direct attack against ABC.
Because it's Disney.
Because it's Disney. And we have not seen any exposés about Disney on anything because they do it. I think that there's either been something that's happened that ABC's maybe already taken a shot at Comcast, or it will happen. This could start an internecine, kind of a war between the networks.
Say that word again, internecine?
That's internecine. It's like a family war.
Good word.
And it's going to create a problem for these guys when they start going after each other.
Well,
and they're going to do it. There's no way that ABC is going to put up with this.
The thing that comes to mind is
this actually hurts the business. Disney people. There were a number of people that will not go to Disneyland over the next year because of this.
Because of this, sure. I would say that the thing that comes to mind is the Comcast Time Warner merger.
Well, Comcast Time Warner, I don't know that they've attacked it.
Well, it's going to come up for review, and so the attacks could come. Maybe it's preemptive. I like what you're saying.
Because we know that these guys are all a bunch of corrupt bastards. That don't, and they make it's a gentleman's agreement. I think it's pretty much a known fact. It's a gentleman's agreement that you don't attack, like when General Electric and had all these crazy deals, and the guy was working outside the CEO was in the White House all the time and all this stuff. It was very open to criticism. Never happened. You never saw any criticism of anything General Electric was doing, and never heard anything about Disney and this crazy business practice.
And this report was on
NBC. That was Brian Williams. This was this big one. It's not like a local.
Well, of course, ABC's. I think they're kicking NBC's ass, right? In the new guy who took over from Diane is winning.
I mean, CBS is kicking everybody's ass, and then ABC's right behind them. And NBC's not. I think they're in fourth. They're after Fox. They suck.
Okay. Well, we'll keep our eye on it.
Yes.
Just sticking with vaccines for a moment, I picked this one up from KPBS. It's a public. It was a huge, long, like 17 minutes about the smoking vaccine, which of course we always have to laugh about because
it's not a disease.
Yeah, but
a vaccine.
But it is a vaccine. They're calling it a vaccine. And I just pulled out the piece for you, John, because I know you're interested. How it works. How do you think this vaccine works?
It goes into your system, and if you smoke, you get sick as a dog.
Give us an overview. What is a nicotine vaccine supposed to do?
I love that the public radio is just saying, vaccine. They don't even question that is a complete misnomer.
Okay, well, let's first start with nicotine itself. When a smoker inhales smoke, the nicotine travels into the lungs, is absorbed, passes into the bloodstream, and then within 10 to 20 seconds, it arrives in the brain. It passes the blood-brain barrier and hits the receptors in the brain involved in the dopamine reward response.
Good times. I remember that. Good days, good times.
And that perpetuates tobacco use.
You want to do it again?
Yes. And so the idea with the vaccine is that we leverage the body's own immune system to produce antibodies that circulate in the bloodstream that then are present the next time that nicotine is present in the bloodstream. And those antibodies bind to the nicotine and prevent the nicotine from passing into the brain.
So that's how they feel, because it's making your body do something. They feel they can call it a vaccine. That was interesting.
Okay. I still think it's
it's bullshit. Of course it's bull crap. We know that.
Terrible bull crap.
But if they can get away with classifying it as a vaccine, what that means is then they can also, not be held accountable if something goes wrong.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah. Hello.
They just call everything a vaccine, and you don't have to worry about being liable.
Exactly.
Law.
So finally,
weight loss vaccine.
Oh yeah.
I have a depression vaccine.
Well, yeah.
Okay, I get it.
So finally, after now 5 years of predominantly me bitching about the money stolen for Haiti, and we'll go back. This is 5 years old.
We just need cash. I know a lot of people want to send blankets or water. Just send your cash.
And this money went into, before there was even a Haiti Foundation, it went into the Clinton Global Initiative, the George Bush's, I forget what the name of it is, that huge charity he runs in Texas. Money went in there, and then it was passed on. Billions and billions. We had concerts. People were texting money. and we still have 100,000 people in tents. The United Nations came in, gave them cholera. People are pooping their guts out, dying everywhere.
Wouldn't take responsibility or help them.
No. Finally, we have some coverage of a protest, and they are calling out Clinton himself. This is New York One, which is it's local, basically the cable news of New York City, Manhattan predominantly.
Right.
They really pioneered the one-person setup where the person sets up the tripod, they got the camera, they got stand in front of it, they position themselves, and I think very technologically progressive outfit. I've always liked what they've done. And here's their report on Haiti protesters up there at the Clinton offices in New York, which no one gives a shit about, but I want to stay on it.
France is at the highest state of alert following the attack on Charlie Hebdo. Some 10,000 troops have been deployed.
I'm sorry. If I only played the correct clip, that would make it even better.
I was wondering where that was going.
Oh, crap. What happened here? Oh, you got to be kidding me. Let me see hold on.
Across the country to guard major train terminals and tourist spots.
Maybe it's something.
There's been an angry reaction around the world to the latest edition of Charlie.
Oh, crap, man. What is this? Oh,
you did what I've done occasionally, which is taken the whole clip when the tidbit is at the end and you forgot.
I don't think so. No, I think that this is just.
Ulama has also expressed disappointment while condemning the shooting.
No, this is completely the wrong clip, but it's named.
Yeah.
Oh, crap.
I know how I feel.
Yeah, I feel like a dick.
That's okay.
I had that great setup. Okay, Sunday. You'll get it on
you had
Sunday.
a nice setup.
I had a great setup.
Here it comes. He's got it teed up.
Yeah.
He's got it on the tee. He's got the bat. Oh, he missed the ball.
How did that happen? Airball.
All right, I got one for you.
Shit. I'm sorry. That was lame.
Okay, the Aurora shooter is finally coming to trial.
Wait, I got to epic fail myself here. Hold on a second. Epic fail. All right. Damn.
The Aurora shooter is coming to trial, right?
Oh, this is the Joker.
The Joker.
Right.
So let me play a couple of things, and this kind of almost an Ask Adam, but I'm going to ask you a question after the second part of this clip. Let's play part one.
Okay. Oops. Sorry. Yeah. Now I'm out of control. Now I'm flustered and nothing is working.
Yeah, don't worry about it. You got to calm yourself.
It's like my mouse is not functioning, and come on.
Giving off electrical charges is screwing up the machine. It's going to reboot in a second.
This is very strange. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. Number one. Aurora 1. Sorry about this. There we go.
9,000 potential jurors are being summoned in the trial of James Holmes. In 2012, Holmes opened fire in a packed movie theater in Aurora, Colorado, killing 12 people. He has pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. His trial has been delayed 6 times. But today, the judge overseeing the case said it's time to get going. Jonathan Betts joins us now with more.
Yeah, Paul, jury selection will now begin on Tuesday. A judge ruled today the attorneys have had enough time to prepare. It will mark the beginning of a long and difficult chapter for the hundreds of survivors and victims' relatives. After years of delays,
when a person does something like that, he no longer has humanity.
Colorado is now bracing for the trial of the man accused of opening fire in a crowded movie theater.
And at the time, I still thought it was fireworks.
Stephen Barton narrowly survived the shooting in 2012.
Purpley bruising his.
Days afterwards, he described James Holmes' rampage.
And when it stopped, I really thought he was probably just reloading and, gonna start walking up and down the theater and, killing everyone.
Holmes would kill 12 people and injure nearly 70 gathered for a midnight screening of Batman: The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, I'd have forgotten about this whole story.
All right, now
weird it was.
There's also, we have clips, whether you can find them or not, it's not critical, but if you remember, there was a number of witnesses and they were all there at the beginning. So there was a number of people came in. They it wasn't just a single shooter. There was multiple shooters and they came in and started shooting around.
Right.
And then when the guy left, he went out the entrance over the back door or something and went into his car.
Which was being propped open by someone else, yes.
Yeah, the whole thing was sketchy. We had clips of all that. But the thing here that I was kind of emphasizing, it was he killed 12 and injured 70. Now, knowing that, explain to me this next clip, which is part 2.
2.5 years later, jury selection will begin next week. Soon after the crime, Holmes was charged with 24 counts of first-degree murder and 116 counts of attempted murder. Since, more charges have been added.
Okay. That doesn't add up.
That's what their claim is. They're going to charge him with 24 counts of murder. 12 were killed.
Twice.
What's the deal with this? And there's like hundreds of people are attempted murder, and there's only 70. I suppose every bullet you shot, they can show that many cartridges. You could claim this. So this is something very fishy about this whole thing. It just ran last night, so I don't have.
This was part of the same report. This? No, it can't be.
You know, it's right after the first part and then the second. It's all part of the same. It's one long report. There's a part 3 if you want to play it, which is the analysis. Is all part of. This was one long clip.
Yeah, I don't mind listening to that.
So let's talk about this case with attorney Ariva Martin. She joins us now from Los Angeles. Ariva, thanks for being with us tonight.
Thank you, Jonathan.
So first off, just how unusual is this case?
Very unusual. We have a couple of things that make this case stand out. First of all, it's a mass murder, and the defendant is still alive. In most mass murder shootings, the defendant is killed by police or
clearly botched
law enforcement, or they take their own lives. So now we have a young man who's actually going on trial, has to face his victims and answer for the killing of 12 people and, as you say, the wounding of over 70 people.
And that young man, James Holmes, has pled not guilty by reason of insanity. Just how strong of a case does he have?
Well, I think it's going to be a difficult challenge for him. Colorado has a unique law in that it requires the prosecuting attorney to prove that he was sane. And we're talking about legal insanity. So the definition is whether he knew right from wrong or if he was impaired by reason of mental defects. So, did he know what he was doing when he went into that theater and killed those people? That's going to be the question. And was he legally sane?
And how do prosecutors prove that, though, especially when someone commits such a horrific crime with apparently no reason? A lot of people are going to say it's clear this man is insane.
Well, again, you got to look at the legal definition of insanity versus, a clinical definition versus a layperson's definition. You can expect the prosecutors to put on, lots of evidence about the efforts that were made before the shooting occurred, the ammunition that was bought, the gear that he bought that he actually wore during the shooting, the booby trapping of his apartment. All of that suggests a lot of planning and a lot of methodical actions, not those of a person who couldn't appreciate the consequences of his actions.
So considering that he was so well armed, that he clearly plotted out this attack, how much does that help prosecutors in this case?
I think it's going to help prosecutors a great deal because it's going to suggest that he did know what he was doing and that he was very both methodical and had a plan to kill not only the people in the theater, but also anyone who came to his apartment after the murders occurred. Because, when the police officer, the first responders, went to search his apartment, there was also explosives that were triggered by them entering that apartment. So that doesn't look like a person who was, acting.
It's interesting that this is coming to trial at the same time Tsarnaev is in Boston.
Yeah, it is interesting.
And I cannot wait. I'm very excited, of course, about the video. We will finally see the video of the Tsarnaev brothers planting.
Yeah, we're going to see that.
Planting. Do we have that clip somewhere? The governor of Boston. No, that was the governor. Was the governor?
Yeah, I think it was the governor of not of Boston, but of Massachusetts.
Massachusetts, right? Who says, the video. Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I know it exists.
Yeah, well, we all know it exists.
We know it exists. I think this is it. Let's see.
Let's see it.
Breaking news out of Boston. This is video of an area near the Boston Marathon.
No, that's not it. No, I'd have to look for that one. It's around here somewhere, but it's just funny. Okay.
Well, I have one last clip.
Okay, I have two things too, but
then you can finish.
All right.
What do you think's going on with this? And did you hear this clip? Because it's a bone of contention in the household. This is the screwy ISIS message, boy with a gun.
Yeah, another fabulously produced video from the people who bring you all the other Caliphate videos.
The Islamic State militant group has released a new video allegedly showing a boy executing 2 men with a gun. Footage released on Tuesday shows what's believed to be a militant fighter and a boy standing behind 2 kneeling men accused of being Russian spies. The boy shoots and the pair collapses to the ground. The video has been edited and it's not known whether the men were actually killed. Islamic State has been giving children full military training. Analysts say the video apparently aims to show that youngsters are willingly taking part in fighting.
And her head is gone.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what it's for. Thank you. That's the message. The whole message is the next generation. And by the way, this kid is beautiful. What a beautiful kid. Yeah, just a handsome young man.
That gun he had would knock him down.
Yeah, but it's propaganda. It's not true. It's total bull crap. And why can't we see it? Why do you edit these videos? But it's the way they produced it. It's from Site. You know it's from Site. That woman.
That same thing. Yeah,
SITE. Yeah, Site. And this is where it's all coming from. Propaganda, which is legal under the repealment of the Smith-Mundt Act. That's how it goes.
Propagandizing the public. So, and I can assure you that all the talkers, the people that are on every one of these networks, from right wing and left wing,
are all in.
They'll be all in and aghast. They'll all be aghast. Oh my God, this kid!
Yes.
What are we up against?
This child should be, a model. He should be working for Calvin Klein in the West. He would be a model. Quickly to Ukraine, Russia. Prime Minister Yats. Rewriting history in Germany.
Ukraine's Prime Minister has made some surprising statements during his visit to Germany. He said that the Soviet Union invaded Germany during the Second World War, accusing the Russian president of rewriting history. That's during his visit to Berlin, where he met Chancellor Angela Merkel to discuss the crisis in eastern Ukraine.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, okay. It's just as long as you just say it loud enough, people will eventually believe it. Russia invaded Germany in World War II.
Yeah.
That's not how I remember it. Just not exactly. It looks like Ukraine agreed to this IMF deal for $17 billion, but there was a small little clause about Monsanto being allowed to come in and sell their seeds exclusively.
Oh, yeah. No, I heard
Did you hear about this?
There was I heard about this a long time ago. I heard that this was going to be part of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
And Monsanto was going to be giving free reign to sell their crappy seeds.
Yeah, it's in.
And take over the place.
And Ukraine traditionally has been known as the bread basket of Europe. It's where all the wheat comes from in the Second World War. I mean, the First World War even, I think, Ukraine, this whole region was important for food. And now this is where the genetically modified wheat will start flowing into Europe. And all of that is good because we have Russia now saying they are going to cut off Ukraine from the gas transport, going to switch all of that to Turkey. We have the EU energy minister. His name is Maros Sefcovic. And he had his first round of talks with Russia and with, I believe, Gazprom, maybe Rosneft as well. Disappointing. Now, you know that they're trying to put this energy union together, which a lot of people don't like in the EU because you have different prices for different countries. The Netherlands does not like this at all because they need to make extra profit for their pass-through of the oil and gas and the storage of it in Rotterdam. But they are really pushing hard to have a single buying entity in the EU, which economically is just a disastrous idea. Here he is talking about his first round of talks where Russia has told him they're going to switch all of their transit to Turkey instead of Ukraine. He's not happy, but he feels it's just an opening little shot there.
I also had a meeting with the chairman, CEO of Gazprom, Mr. Miller. I informed him about our plans concerning the build-up of the energy union, and he informed me about the decision, as he was saying, to shift through the channels through Ukraine to Europe via Turkey. To be quite honest, I was very surprised.
Can you hear that at all? It sounds kind of crappy now that I listen.
I can't understand him.
All right. Well, I kind of told you what he said.
It didn't help much with those stupid cameras.
Yeah, I know. It's annoying.
Like a soundtrack.
It's the best I can
isolate a sound, or I could take one of my cameras and record one myself.
Do you want to go out with a little audio experiment?
Well, I'm game for an experiment.
This is, where did I get this from? I got this from it's to show you how your brain, it's actually apropos with that thing I just played that you couldn't hear. To show you how your brain constructs things out of just random noise, there's this, it's called the Phantom Words demo. You listen to this, and then you're going to start hearing phrases and words as you go along. And I just thought it would be fun to do this with the chat room. It's one of the few times you can actually do this live. If I did this on the radio, I would be fired for doing it. Like, what are you doing? This is no good. So I'm going to be reading off what the chat room thinks they're hearing, and then that will automatically influence you, and you will start hearing it as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know this experiment.
It's fun. Here we go. So what are you hearing?
No way.
I hear a brain. I hear a brain.
No win.
Voices. I hear railway. No win. Gadfly. Railway. Norway. I love this.
Yeah, you would be fired.
In fact, I'm going to fire myself.
What is this?
I'm going to fire myself right now. Oh, man. All right. I think that is pretty much just about everything we have. Correction from, we have people working at the International Criminal Court. Corrected me. I said there were no convictions. Not true. In 12 years of the International Criminal Court, $1 billion has been spent. They have had 2 convictions.
Ooh, it's only $500 million per. The other thing about the redheaded murderer in Aurora.
Yeah.
The guys his lawyers already said, we'll take a plea and take life imprisonment forever. And the government in Colorado decides, no, because some DA wants to make a name for himself. They're going to spend what they estimate to be $4 million of the taxpayers' money.
Sure.
To try to put this guy on trial, which he might get off.
It's crazy.
Crazy.
It truly is crazy. And then the only thing I wanted to say, a lot of people sending me this link, and a couple things. One, first of all, send me links on Twitter. If you just have a link, please tweet it to me. It's much easier than email. A lot of people still not doing that. Please, Steck, I'm looking at you too. Secondarily, when you see an article, and certainly if it goes to Zero Hedge, do yourself a favor and read it. And as you're reading it, there's usually a link to where they got that from, because they're just rewriting.
They don't originate material.
They're just rewriting an article. Okay, could you please just get the original? And sometimes
go back up a little bit, do some work, click on it. And work consists of clicking on a link.
You'll be surprised. You'll really be surprised how much more you learn when you go to the original material.
Source material is always better.
Sometimes it's just very.
We should review anything from Zero Hedge and a couple of these other operations.
Well, sometimes they have their own stuff, but rarely.
Pretty rare.
Yeah. But you also, even Slashdot. Don't send me the link to Slashdot. Send me the link that Slashdot is reporting on. Okay, anyway.
Noted.
Right. Men who post selfies show psychopathic tendencies. This is the link. I'm sure you've seen this.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay. And, of course, I just kept ignoring it because I'm like, I don't give a crap. And then finally, I'm like, hey, wait a minute. I got to put my no agenda hat on. Where is this coming from? Who did it? What's going on? And this it's from an associate professor at the Ohio State University and an intern. And they were given data of men only, which is why they couldn't make any analysis of women. And what this data showed, which they received from, I forget where, it doesn't really matter, but it was a data set that they received, is indeed people who post selfies of themselves on social network show psychopathic, certainly narcissistic, and other types of tendencies. I can guarantee you that it's the same for women. Okay, so stop with just men. That's how somehow this has become. Men when they post selfies, they're psycho.
Oh yeah.
Women are psycho too.
Right. It's a good complaint.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even bring it up, but I think that complaint's legit.
Yeah, it's like one of those things. It just annoys me. It almost annoys me as much as not being supported enough for the work we're doing. But I do it with great love.
Yes, very, very disappointing.
No. All right, well, remember us, Dvorak.org/NA. We do need your support to continue doing this type of analysis, and there's a lot of stuff left
and think
over.
Where you'd be without it.
Yeah, how you'd be feeling.
Yeah, how would you be feeling listening to Glenn Beck instead?
And just a final...
The Pentagon's been hacked.
A final note, we lost one of our producers, Pete O'Rourke. One of his neighbors tracked me down, Sandy Joyner, and they were close friends, and he passed away on January 6th. I'm not quite sure what happened, but he has sent a lot of information over the years, so he will be missed. Hate it when that happens.
Yes, not good.
Coming to you from FEMA Region 6, in the capital of the Drone Star State. Good morning, everybody. My name's Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where there's no sun today, I'm John C. Dvorak.
We will be back on Sunday with more deconstruction right here on No Agenda.
We need to kill them. We need to kill them.
Dingo, boom, boom, chagalaka, boom, 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 chagalaka, boom, boom. If there's a need for a rescue mission, when the world is threatened, when the world needs help, it calls on America. And that's the story.
Bomb them, and bomb them again.
Adios, mofo.
I'm Joe Biden, and thank you for taking the time to listen.
The best podcast in the universe. Dvorak.org/NA